soul's the same. With you, I'm everything. You never asked me to change a thing. They set our world on fire, but our hearts will burn for miles. I see your beauty shine. You radiate with light. Our hearts dancing time. You're one of a kind. Stars shining with us. Your fire is contagious. I feel the moon on our skin. Love glows out, love streams in. Your eyes shining through me. Light the way so that we can see. And feel the warmth of my love. Shine on and feel we're lost. Even when I'm gone, like circles on from near and far, above the flower bed. As we watch the stars, and we'll never be apart.
Y'all sit back and watch me speak. About to take over your screen. Talking bulls in 93. Talking mom, I'm on TV. Y'all know all I do is me. All I do is me. Y'all sit back and watch me speak. Y'all sit back and all I know, my money green. About to snap and make a scene. My cup off and make this free. My cup off and make them scream. Go pop off for TMZ. Y'all sit back and watch me speak. Y'all sit back and watch me speak. Y'all sit back and watch. Watch me. Watch me. Watch me. Sit back and watch. Sit back. Sit back. Sit back. Sit back. Money long, nothing on credit. I got style, don't catch no feelings. All this bread ain't got no lettuce. I got style, don't catch no.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for another weekend of Aegis North American Challengers League qualifier action. And folks, if you've been sticking with us through these last couple of weeks, you know that this is the big time matchups coming our way. Top 8 on the line. And today we'll be taking a look at Polestar looking to take down the Cinderella story that is Nigel's Last Tiles. I'm joined by the lovely TDS. TDS, plain and simple, one of these two teams is going to achieve that playoff glory. The other one is going to bow out just a bit short.
Exactly, and like you're mentioning, it's pretty much almost everything on the line here. You have to win to secure your spot later on, and you don't want to give you don't want to put anything to chance, but you don't want to give anything up, especially with how close the distance between each seed going into the promotion tournament is. You need to be ready to get as many points as possible. Like, the difference is going to be so difficult to go over unless you continue advancing in these rounds.
Yeah, basically for both of these squads, with the points you're talking about, it's win the whole qualifier, or you will not get promotion tournaments. So obviously got to start by getting to the playoffs, and we, as you can tell, have started with our game 1 draft here. Polestar on your blue side, Nigel's Last Tiles on the red side. TDS, before I let you take away with some of these bands, I want to make sure to remind everybody at home, because it's NACL affiliated, this is fearless. So every champion pick you see from both of these teams in game 1 has an added caveat that they are out for the rest of the series.
This also means that we may see a repetition of the same bans all series long, which is maybe the unlucky part coming in with Fearless, but should be a fun series overall. As we see the bans, a lot of focus towards the mid lane, even though Twisted Fate has been more of the AD pick, a lot of focus there. And we can see here with the first pick Ari coming through from Polestar, they want to try and get something that controls the mid lane from early on, something that can allow the push so that the 2v2 the duo of mid lane and jungle can begin moving around the map as effectively as possible. Karma on the other side, good mid lane, good counter pick or flexibility champion going into bot lane or top lane as well. So there's a lot of ways to play around with this from Tile. And then the Udyr, it feels like the Udyr has fallen in priority compared to where he was at the start, but I still think he's a fine top laner. At the very least, fine enough that you shouldn't be worried about him.
Certainly always have the ability to flex into the jungle as well if you want to, but I'm with you. Udyr's prowess dropped, and I think he's really only a top lane champion. There are a lot of champions, though, that like to try to play the sustained game. The Volley Bear was up if you wanted to try and slam that one for Shocky, but he will go with his coveted Aatrox there, which picking that early signals to me that he definitely believes that that is going to be a nodal on the Udyr there for Nigel's last tiles. We're rounding out the 80 carry picks as well. I mean, this is pretty standard, right, TDS, from what we've seen on the current patches. Varus, Senna, two of the S tier champions you see at this level of play.
Only question mark here, apart from the Varus, the Senna, is maybe if they want to play the Karma down there in the bot lane with the Varus, since you do still see the Karma down there and it does provide extra pushing power. But apart from that, everything feels pretty in position. And with the fact that Udyr tends to go more towards the top lane than the jungle, I can see a lot more jungle bans coming through, although they are not buying this Udyr being in the top lane, it looks like, with the Renekton ban. The buy coming through, I can see a Jarvan 4 as well. Potentially as well, the Sejuani could be an option, just because Sejuani does give you that added tankiness to the champion ban list, but instead they are opting for a much more aggressive option in the form of the Kindred.
Yeah, Kryra, I mean, if you've been following along, a lot of people hold Kryra really highly as one of these future superstar junglers when he'll be able to move up. He is the centerpiece in a lot of eyes for Polestar, who certainly have a squad that, you know, is not to be scoffed at around him, but Kryra is the guy to worry about. Kryra is a carry jungler player by nature. His Kindred, his Graves are two champions that are certainly to be feared. We'll see if he decides to lean towards that Graves with it open. Ton of 80 damage already synced out through this Polestar squad. I wouldn't hate. I know Volley Bear is a lot more top lane, but I think Volley alongside an Aatrox with an Ahri could be very, very good. But for now, they'll just solidify that Tom Kench Senna TK bottom.
Yeah, and they are opting into the safer option, does give the cover for the Senna in terms of anything going wrong. I love more the proactive pairings, not just the wait and see what Tamkich is able to do. And the sack to close it out, this could be a sack in the jungle or a sack in the top lane. It's still up in the air to see where they actually send either of these two champions, or this champion. The Aatrox as well, there's potential to play in the jungle, but it's been much lesser compared to where he was way before. And then the Brand to close it off, so this could be the Brand in the jungle with the Udyr top lane, and then the typical Varus Nautilus bot lane. Brand, there's a chance to also see it flexed, because there's still value in the champion being flexed around, but I would bet more that we see it in the jungle.
Yeah, I think the Brungle is the one to come out here. Zach is probably, I've had the pleasure of covering a lot of Polestar games through most of these qualifiers, the GSL stage. Kryra is definitely a Zach player. He's won some games on Zach. So I would expect that Zach to go into the jungle. Kryra, though, not going to lean on his super carry-oriented jungle pool just yet. He's going to go to more of the facilitator role. A ton of just kind of beefy front line is going to run at you. You got an Ahri to really bring home the AP damage for this Polestar on the side, and a lot of protection for the Senna as well. So Polestar have a lot of keys in my mind to do a little bit of everything, right? They've got early game oriented jungler, they've got skirmish heavy champions like Aatrox and Ahri, but they still have the scaling and the front line that comes through with Senna TK. It can be tricky to try and do everything with one comp, so we'll see if Polestar can sync it all through.
Exactly, and like you're mentioning, when you try to do everything, sometimes you fail at everything as well, just because there's so many things that you need to actually accomplish there. I will say, though, the fact that Senna is so flexible in her way of trying to to play the game in general makes it so that you can try and tackle this sort of multiple ideas in a composition much more easier. Because if they fail, Senna still has value thanks to her kit. If they succeed, then the value from the Senna skyrockets even more because, once again, her kit is great. So overall, you just need to try and idealize an initial step to take, and then you can try and play around with multiple things. The big potential is something I won't discount either, because you do have the Ari to try and start things with the charm, and then the follow-up from the Zac, from the Aatrox. They have really good single target lockdown that they can try and just layer down with multiple targets. And when you look at it, apart from Nodal on the Udyr, there's not really a lot of champions that will last long when they are consistently attacked by a huge amount of CC. So that way they can try and lock down targets easier and try and create advantageous number situations. Yeah.
I will say though, for that Udyr and Nodal, I think he's smiling a bit here, seeing the comp that was drafted by Polestar, because I think he's going to be able to be a really big tank threat, and it's always nice when you go into a top lane matchup up against an AD bruiser like an Aatrox, and you're like, okay, I'm going to have to itemize for, armor, right? Because I'm going into an Aatrox. But sometimes if you go into a comp that has like a Hwei and an Ari and a bunch of AP mixed in, you're like, well, then I'm just going to be weaker in the fight. No, Nodal, he can itemize for armor. He's going to be taking a lot of AD damage basically the whole time. Obviously, the Ari will hurt, but there's not a ton of extra AP over there, so I think Nodal will end up being very tanky. And in general, with this Nigel's Last Tiles comp, if they can line up the CC, get some good dredge lines, get depth charges down, Chains of Corruption lands on a couple people, the combination of those Mantra Q, Karma, Malignance crap, and the Pyroclasm, the damage Brand can drop down, it could just completely wipe a team fight if lined up correctly.
That's a lot of burn that you actually get in a team fight. So yeah, I can see that happening. And I want to ride on that Nodal point with you here, because like you're mentioning, there's not a ton of magical damage on the side of Polestar. And crucially as well, if you follow the build that typically the Senna takes, it's the lethality build, right? So if you itemize armor into that, you're going to take away a lot of the value coming in from the physical damage. Also, Shoki, going into the Aatrox, you have some normal physical damage, but you also go into a lethality route more typically with the Aatrox. So it kind of makes the armor building coming in from Nodal be even more valuable. And then Love Ego as well, even if he's a support, if the game goes long enough, you can just itemize armor as well, and then you have two frontliners that are going to be shielded by the Karma and can stack up on the damage. And I feel like that can eventually just find even more value for Tile that Polestar is not going to be able to face.
Yeah, going back quickly to that setup point, I have seen Sennas go towards that like full crit, like super scaly build, but that's only when they're farming, because you need the gold income to get to that build. And I think that's a great point you brought up, the lethality, because we don't know for sure until we get onto the Rift, but you don't see Senna TK with a farming Senna. The whole point with TK is that he farms to get tanky. So that means that Lunar does have to virtually go that lethality build, which even further would reinforce the point of, hey, it's going to be pretty hard to kill Nodal. But to be honest with you, TDS, it's going to be pretty hard to kill a lot of these champions on the Rift on either side. We have you still have a Tom Kench and a sustain healing Zac.
Yeah,
But
there's going to be a lot of value there.
But the value is all going to come out of Summoner's Rift there. You see a little bit of, the Riot Games love is, hey, this is technically a Riot Games sponsored tournament. North American Challengers League qualifiers, Group B, wrapping up here. Both these two teams hoping to make top 8 just to get a shot at winning the whole OQ, which, for all you viewers at home that don't know, the winner of the second qualifier gets an automatic bid to that promotion tournament.
Makes it even easier, right? The fact that you can just skip everything from the previous one if you win, which it's easier said than done. It can happen, but I dare you to try and accomplish it if you're able to.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of teams that have already gotten the points to be pretty comfortable that are going to be hard to take down, and then you've got squads like CCG who bolster their roster and need to win it basically to make it in themselves. But we do see some early trading. Reppy's going to feel pretty nice about getting that Electrocute down, but it is traded back there by Elias. I do see the Electrocute Ari and Airy Karma. I feel like those aren't the subset runes we usually see from both those two champions on the current patch. At least not the Airy Karma. It's usually the common, no?
Yeah, I think there's some instances where you do see the electrocute on the Ari and the electrocute on the Karma, but like you're mentioning, it's not typical, but it's not necessarily bad. I do like the area on the Karma because it does give you a bit more consistent trading potential, and then the shielding value is going to be much higher. And then for the Ari, I feel like she recognizes that in this composition you need to blow up targets. Maybe not Nodal, but the other three need to be blown up, so this extra bit of damage could actually make a difference in some instances.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on the Aerie there for sure. Is the shielding, like you talked about, is going to be a powerful part of this game. Lots of trade to come down. We didn't get to talk too much about it, but bottom lane, you know, it might not be the most fight-heavy bottom lane. I mean, that's what happens when you get sent a TK most of the time, especially when who's just going to be looking for those souls. Those mid laners might handshake a bit, and I might have to eat my words as Lovigo does sink a dredge line. No great health for just yet, pun intended. So he'll want to play a bit safer.
Interestingly, we're looking also at the fact that Goodshot took the barriers or the unhit barriers option instead of going for the lethality. So this does make it so that bot lane is going to have a bit more fighting power coming in from the side of Polestar early on. Then when you begin stacking up those attack speed items, you actually do feel much better as a barriers in some of those trades. But in general, you are going to take a bit longer to try and reach that spot as the barriers.
I do think it's a better swing here for Goodshot into a comp that is just going to have a lot of people that are going to be frontlining for Polestar. You're going to be able to stack up that later Rage Blade, like you talked about, the lethal tempo a lot. And also just allows this Varus to scale up alongside the Senna. Doesn't have to compete to win the game earlier when you go this route.
Yeah, it's a much better way to try and go against a hyper scaler like the Senna in an effective manner. And you don't worry, and this way you also don't worry about the fact that tankiness is going to be an issue going against the composition from Polestar, since you can shred tanks really effectively.
Both these junglers shredding through their camps. They're both on a full clear. Both ended up towards the bot side here. And we definitely know that Kryra, he doesn't have the clear advantage, especially on those grubs, but the Zac certainly wants to get on the rift and fight early, and hey, he's found the brand. Evan Lai caught in the jungle here, does get the stun across. Kryra looking to commit further, though, with the elastic slingshot. Topside, Nodal's very low himself as well, and now everybody's starting to fight on the rift, but just as it comes, it blows away in the wind.
Yeah, they are fighting, but nobody's dying, and that's the key part here. Everyone able to escape away really effectively. Only thing, though, is that both Nodal and Evan Lai blow their summoners up. In comparison, nothing was blown by the side of Pulsar, so they can just wait up, try and make a play happen later, and it's going to be completely fine for them. That's a lot of damage onto the area.
Yeah, I totally missed that Evan Lai did blow Flash, which is actually huge on a champion like Brand. His Nodal, without Ghost, is getting very low. Shocky has Flash. A couple more autos might do it. We'll get the Ram stance stun. And Shocky doesn't want to commit further without those sweet spot Qs up.
Yeah, ends up getting stunned, which makes it so that Nodal is able to escape there, but that trading pattern can be a bit scary if you're not careful enough there.
Oh, there's the Abyssal Dive. Doesn't get the knockup Justice looking for. So just say, that's a flash for the Lovigo. They want to go onto Lunar, who stepped a little too far forward. Ignite dropped down. Goodshot's health bar as low on top of that. He'll have to burn Ghost. And DDS, everybody wants to trade, but like you mentioned, Zero's still up in the kill count.
Yeah, they can trade all they want, but when you look at the objectively at what is blown for what is obtained, it's much better for Polestar. They blow away the heal for Ghost, Ignite, and Flash in bot lane. For really no real trade. Oh, again.
And they're going right back in for it. They know Goodshot only has that flash. Lunar can stay back and save. Topside, good charm comes across from Reppy, did an instant. Evan Lai falls for first blood. Reppy grabs that one. Bot side, we're still fighting here out as the Abyssal Dive flash forward by Goodshot. Great dodge out, picks off Lunar. He's going to double up for Nigel's last tiles. In an instant, the rift explodes with bloodshed.
Exactly, we went from nothing to something happening down here, and it's 1 kill for Goodshot and 1 kill for Lovigo. Really aggressive trades down here in the bot lane turn into kills for everyone, and it's so valuable for the side of Tile because with what was happening out there in the top lane, you needed something good to happen on the other side of the map. And then we can talk about what happened there, because Evan Lai, we talked about this, no flash. You need the flash as the brand. If you get caught out of position, you're going to die, and they find the brand, kill him, and steal the 3 grubs as well.
I love that recognition from Kryra there, TDS, because the one real strength of Brand, it's been all season, is how quickly he can devour those Void Grubs. So Kryra, knowing that, set up his path so that he could go check Void Grubs off spawn, and knowing that flash was down, that's just the high level, that's the high level thinking you need from a jungler, and why people think of Kryra as such a highly touted talent.
Exactly, someone that is bound to make the jump sooner rather than later, and he's showing it up with really good plays here and there. And if he's able to go even farther in the tournament, that's going to keep appealing to everyone's minds. But so far, that early kill that they were able to get into the area may end up being super valuable in terms of trying to respond to what happened bot side, because now the Senna and the Temkench are not in the best of spots.
No, but they certainly should have a lot of pressure towards that bot side. Kryra going for a good old-fashioned lane gank. He does have balance if he wants it. No summoner's up, and the knockup comes through for good shot. This is as easy of a kill. What a setup from Justin Kryra to pick up another one for Polestar. Top side, Nono getting himself low once more in a trade. But it's Kryra all over the map. Stop me if you heard that one before for Polestar.
Another one for Kryra, really good moves, but the setup by Lunar and Jost really well done, and they want to keep trying to get something down here, and it looks like the more chances Kryra gets to move around the map, the better it's going to look for the side of Polestar. Also, important to note is he's farther ahead than the Brand in terms of farming, so he's also taking away from one of the clear strengths from the Brand in terms of the farming speed. He's actually outperforming him.
We'll be able to catch him a bit, Evan Lai. Grabbing this scuttle. I'm curious to see if he'll turn straight onto the dragon for the stereotypical season 14 neutral trade. And they will. They have the pressure. They know the resets came in through bot and mid. So at least good on Evan Lai to recognize that. Get something back for Tile.
They are getting something really useful there. The dragon, and it's the early ocean dragon, which does give you early stats that pretty much almost every champion does like to have. So as long as they are able to make the most use out of them, then it's going to be really valuable for them. And they also begin the stacking of the dragon, which for late game situations, you want to have this stacking going in your favor.
Certainly, especially once we figure out what soul it's going to be. And with Infernal likely to be the second, that does leave up two pretty coveted ones in my mind, especially for team comps that want to lean on their frontliners. Mountain and Hextech being available would be massive for either composition. Talk about that dragon stacking.
Going to be massive for them if they are able to keep on getting it, and they look like they want to try and find some of those. And in the rest of the map so far, because of the early advantages that each lane has gotten, they now have at the very least close to a 2k gold lead in their favor that can be really valuable for them. And Kryra setting up for another gank, but sadly this time around there's vision.
A great ward there from Nodal. I feel like that's one of the new fun ward spots for topside with the new Rift. Is not in the bush. Don't worry about the bush. You just ward right over that wall. Kryra, though, it's going to keep pushing. I mean, why wouldn't you with the lead you've gotten over your opponent right now?
Would be much better 100%. So yeah, why wouldn't you with those things? And it's weird, they are trying to set up for some plays. Wait, Kryra, your ambition.
Yep. Okay, he's going to get the slingshot back. Elias has to flash away, but they find Love Ego in the bush, who eats a dredge line. Bounce in time for Kryra, who is way more comfortable in the middle of three, has the passive available, keep in mind, and he's just keeping going forward. Reppy with the Spirit Rush will find Love Ego. Great pick off there. Does get caught by a brand stun, but has one more dash in the tank to get away. And it's once again Kryra just creating time after time early for Polestar.
He's really not scared about anything, and he's delivering on what he's trying to accomplish there. Really good moves, turn into a really good kill. And now another one for the side of Polestar. What else can they accomplish after that kill is up to them. But so far, really nice moves coming in by Kryra. And I don't think we have seen his passive pop even at all.
Oh, no. 100% no. He still has that up and kicking. Evan Lai wishes he had a pass to the bail him out. Good dodge on the stun there from Lunar. Evan Lai's flash immediately goes back on cooldown. Kryra's as well. Flashes forward, throws both of the tile members together, and Shockey's going to capitalize. Grabs the auto kill onto Elias. Evan Lai looking for a trade onto Reppy, who's out of mana, but they can't even find that. Reppy goes on a killing spree.
Oh, no.
Polestar look unstoppable to kick off this elimination match.
And everything is on the back of Kryra, the jungler that everyone is hyping up, and they are hyping him up for a reason. He's just playing so well with the sack so far, actually getting the connection and then flashing in, not really getting the second one, but following up quickly so that you can get the initial engage onto the Nautilus really effectively. And even if the brand is there, he doesn't have the ultimate because he blew it up in the previous trade. So overall, they just have every bit of advantage. And thanks PBS for showing us Lunar with 50, I think 53 stacks now, 54. He's doing an amazing job at keeping this stack count on the Senna as high as possible.
That is ludicrous stacking. I mean, if we go back to the numbers, 20 every 5 minutes is like good. And he nearly got to 30 every 5 minutes at this rate. So Lunar is in an amazing position, despite the fact that Polestar's bottom lane did kind of falter early on. The real reason there are kills on the board for Nigel's last tiles.
Exactly, it was kind of a difficult spot to be in, as we see some trading up there in the top lane. Shoki doing quite a lot of damage. And actually, just quickly, because Nodal opted into much more of the AP route here, he's not going to be as tanky to some of these trades.
No, but luckily for him, Shoki doesn't have World Ender, or that could have gotten a lot worse, but never smart to try and dive an Udyr, especially with the healing. You can see he gets up there. Nodal comfortable catching the wave clear, but couldn't lose another one of those plates and just really accentuate the gold lead Polestar is acclimated.
Just so much more value for them, as we see the gold differences here. Mid lane so far ahead, bot lane pretty equal, top lane farther ahead for the Aatrox, but then you see the jungle and there's such a big difference between Kryra and Evanlai.
It is massive, and Reppy already has that Malignance done on the Ahri. Karma also does for Elias, which is a big spike. Hold on, World Ender gonna come out here for Shocky. Thinks he has the kill threat on the Nodal here. If he keeps hitting those sweet spots, he might. He'll just force out the Ghost. That's both summoners off of the Udyr. And now a canceled Dredge line from Love Ego. Does Lunar have enough damage? They didn't expect Evanlai to be waiting in the bush. Elias is rummed down, but Kryra, we know he doesn't fear anybody here. He's gonna get the stretching strikes onto 2. It's just poetry in motion right now for the Polestar jungler. Give Polestar another 2 kills with ease.
He's everywhere, and everywhere he goes, he gets something for Polestar. 2 more kills, a bit of pushing down there in the bot lane, and potentially the dragon spawning in 3 seconds. Why not? There's nothing stopping them from collecting it, and it's just complete control from Kryra in this early game. The sack pick going to be something to keep in mind. Well, thankfully for the side of Tile. Oh,
that's the easy answer, right? Chains of Corrupted drop, you devour Lunar. That's why you picked the Senna TK.
Exactly, it works out really, really well, but now they also don't have Chains of Corruption for a potential fight here, so going to be a good cooldown that is out. Oh, there's no
Devour coming back here, and they do immediately pick off Lunar. That's a great play from Evanlai to find that one. Good shot pops the Gross, and now Kryra is cornered in the pit. He'll have to go bouncing to try and just steal the dragon, but it's secured by Evanlai. They'll knock Kryra down to the passive and finally knock him off his pedestal. This is a huge move as Tile finally find a fight back. Kryra's still up out of the passive, but it was just to give Good Shot the kill over. Shutdowns galore. Finally an answer from Nigel's last tiles.
It lasted longer than he probably should have, but yeah, that is a really big value for Tile. They get the dragon, they get 2 kills out of that play, and there's a massive misconception there coming through by the side of Polestar. The idea of trying to get the dragon is not bad. They blow the Chains of Corruption from Good Shot, which is also good, but in the same play, you blow the Tamkin's ultimate. So you cannot go as aggressive there as the Senna, because if you get picked up, you're dead, and that's exactly what happened to Lunar in that position, not respecting what the pick potential was going to be for the side of Tile. Now that is a play that can allow for them to try and get back into the game. Will it work out that effectively? Maybe, but so far at the very least they get something.
And look at a bit more off of it. First turret grabbed up as well. Great recognition though from Tiles that there wasn't a reset for Reppy there, who was very low on mana and about half HP. So the Ahri, there's 3-0 Ahri from Reppy. Couldn't really affect that fight. We did see, thanks to PVS, that it's going to be a Cloud Soul for game number 1. So maybe not the one that everyone was hoping for out of the remaining 3, but still more valuable than I think the overall league community gives to that good old Cloud Drake.
Disappointed that it's going to be the Cloud Dragon, but funnily enough, like you're mentioning, this game it's going to find quite a lot of value because everyone in both compositions does like to have the movement speed, and they have ultimates that they can make use of the ultimate value for the Cloud Drake. So it's not going to be the worst of dragons this time around. That being said, it's not exciting. So, man.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it certainly is exciting, but like you mentioned, Shockey's gonna love Cloud Soul when he pops World Ender. Nodal Udyr just loves a Cloud Soul. Kryra's certainly going to enjoy it, getting the speed ups going in for those engages. Reppy as well, dashing around. There's at least champions that will find value out of it. And Nigel's last tiles, it feels like if the game state they're in, they're going to have to find a lot of value through their dragon stacking because not much else has gone right.
Exactly, not much has been working out there. Reppy has to use the ulti and they're in Vision, so this could be a bit scary, but nothing ends up happening in that position. First turret blood, if I'm not wrong, did go to the side of tiles, so they were able to utilize a bit of the gold value back in their favor. And Good Shot is close to that second item mark, where that's where we begin seeing the Varus be as useful as possible. I don't think he's opting into the Rage Blade option though.
No, yeah, he's going, it looks like he's going for Terminus second here, so the Rage Blade I would assume will come third, which I don't hate with the Terminus buffs. I think it's a pretty powerful item.
Not necessarily bad, it's just a weird out. Oh wait,
here comes Kryra out of the woodwork, looking to go forward, forces the flash out of Evan live, but they caught Kryra and they just blow him up. That's the power of the brand turn. No passive. Kryra falls once more. Nodal pops the ghost. Great devour from Just Keep Lunar safe, but it's going to cost the TK his life instead. Good Shot grabs another. Look at this mid game coming out from Nigel's last tiles.
And Kryra wanted to do the same that he did before, engage and find someone, but in the turn, like you were mentioning, Slayer, he was stunned for so long that he barely was able to do anything. Not even flash, not even ulti. He just gets completely blown up in that position, and after that it's just following up on the play. Importantly as well, it was a 5v4 because Nodal was able to teleport. Ari wasn't even close there, so they cannot follow up on the play, but overall it just works out really well for Thailand, now getting back more and more goals in their favor.
And we talked about it. Good Shot was going towards that second item. He picks up one of those key kills. 3-1 and 3 on this Varus. Does grab that Terminus. So even though it's not the Rage Blade, it's still a pretty significant 2-item power spike for Good Shot's Varus. He's got to be feeling a lot better about going on hit now, the way his early game has gone. It only gets worse for Polestar in this fashion of Varus for Good Shot.
Exactly. It's going to be much more valuable for them, but how many opportunities of a fight like that one is going to get tile? I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I just feel like that situation was really convenient because Kryra wasn't able to find anyone of actual value there, not even blowing up flash. But in a future fight, that is not going to be the same case.
Certainly won't be. Looks like both these bottom lanes have roamed over to play towards their mid lane sides. We do have some bounties still on some of these members of Polestar. It was a lot trickier to grab the one off Reppy, knowing the nature of Ari. That's a teleport though from Shockey.
They won this
Polestar.
Cloud.
Yeah, and I love the Rift Herald drop mid. I mean, this is textbook.
You have to be careful though. If they find Kryra here completely stuck, and they are not going to find it there. Really nice play with the Rift Herald, like you're mentioning, pretty normal.
Oh, but they just blow up Lunar. Great Chains of Corruption. Kryra goes to the backline with the shocking strikes. He will find the trade on a Good Shot. Shockey with the World Ender gets the resets he needs. Reppy with the dashes on the Spear Rush. Beautiful charm to find Elias out of it all. Good pick, Good Shot, but can't follow up the rest of the fight. Polestar slam it home.
Yeah, they may have blown away the Senna from the game, but they follow up with 3 kills of their own on the side of Polestar. Kryra finding Good Shot, and then Evan like getting completely collapsed by the Aatrox on the side. Works out massively well for the side of Polestar. They get 3 kills, they get the Dragon, and they are back in complete control of the game because they also took the mid lane turret. So now they have a lot of open space to play around within the map.
And arguably most importantly, they stop that dragon stacking, right? So Soul won't be attained very quickly. At the earliest, Nigel's last tiles can get a Cloud Soul at just about 30 minutes, which feels like an eternity in this point of the game.
Going to take a while, and that could have been a way of playing the game for Tile where they can try and accelerate it without having to worry too much about contesting heavily for the Elder Dragon, because the Elder Dragon is a game-winning buff. And if they can force it as early as possible, that could have been a difference maker for them.
That's what Nigel's last tiles were able to do up against ISU. They had some very impressive early games. but they ended up winning that series in a pivotal game 3 that went late. Could have gone anybody's way. So if we've learned anything about Nigel's Last Tiles on their quote-unquote Cinderella run as a lower seed, making it to top 12, is they definitely have the late game macro and team ability in that stage of the game. So playing for Elder could be helpful if it still becomes a reality, but like you mentioned, a lot less of one at this point.
Going to be a much lesser one, and as we wait to see what else they are going to try and find, just typical pushing lanes and waiting for someone to make a mistake or for the next objective to appear. Since Baron probably is not going to be the objective for the side of Polestar, and they also don't take it as fast, then it's going to be until the next dragon, feels like, unless someone missteps heavily.
Yeah, that's a problem with Senna, you know, and Ari in the mid lane, right? Is Baron takes are very, very slow. Nigel's Last Tiles, they take Baron pretty quick. So we'll see if they ever try to index over there. But right now it's just side lane, catching the waves, pushing them out. The real macro of League of Legends, baby.
And how we wait, they are going to try and make this sort of play happening. But talking a bit more about Kryra, right? It feels like the main star of the game so far, for the better or for the worst on both sides. It just feels like Kryra has been performing so well on the sack. But this is also the point where you begin thinking about what Fearless does to the game, right? Because next game, there's no way Kryra gets sack. He cannot play the champion again. And it just feels like kind of unlucky considering how much value the champion has had so far this series or this game.
Certainly, but if Polestar want to contest for the qualifier win, they have to show they can play comps around Kryra where he plays multiple different types of junglers, and I think Kryra is certainly going to try, at least at one point, to pick one of his coveted carry champions. We'll see if Polestar can perform on it, and if it's been an indication of the Group B tourney so far is that he certainly can. His Love Ego might get caught out here, getting chunked down by Lunar Senna. A lot of Karma shielding helping out. Teleport comes behind, and look at that, Justice just dead. Good shots damage sinks through, and now they can just chase down Lunar, who gets jumped on by Nodal. Good route at the start, trying to get those slows through. Pops the Yoda, who's just trying to speed away. I don't think he'd outrun Nodal, who's still going to chase him near under the turret.
Okay, he can.
And somehow he does. He might even look for a turn, gets another root, getting the autos down. Look at the flank coming out from Kryra and Reppy. The Elastic Slingshot going to be held on to, though, as the rest of the tile have been spotted in that river.
Choki is behind them. I don't think they spotted the Aatrox at all. They don't know Kryra is here as well either. So this could be a perfect angle to fight Evanlight.
Yeah, they're gonna go for it. In goes Kryra, doesn't get the Elastic shot, but they have a split fight that Kryra can jump forward through. Dawning Shadow finds Elias. Shocky staying up with that World Ender. Reppy finds the angle on Evanlight, and the flank proves pivotal for Polestar, grabbing 4 and an ultimate Baron to take hold of this game.
4 kills, Lavigo escaped with his life, but it doesn't matter because the big purple worm is also going to be obtained by Polestar. And like you're saying, Slayer, the perfect angle that both Shoki and Kryra find on the side. Nobody was able to spot the Aatrox and the sack. A really good vision play by them because they were playing with the Scryers to try and deny any sort of vision potentially spotting them. But they just find the perfect angle, find Evanlight first in the fight so that they can blow this brand up as quickly as possible, and then they follow up on Good Shot that even if he has flash still up, he cannot just flash away and escape because it's going to be really easy to follow up on him. Really good play overall, really nice catch. The after just dies first in that fight, and then they collect the Baron buff finally, and probably they are going to get the next dragon as well.
In the calm demeanor of Lunar there, I mean, how many Senna players would freak out with an Udyr running at him? Yeah. Lunar able to keep Nodal off him, and who knows what that fight looks like if Lunar falls, right? Because that's a main AD damage dealer, and on brand there, nearly gets picked off, does get devoured, but there's no throw to safety. A great double knock-up on the depth charge. The Polestar bottom lane might fall to the wayside. Nodal grabs that one. Teleports galore, though. The solos for Polestar show up. Shocky looking to find angles with the World Ender, but the brand damage is starting to really hurt. The Pyroclasm just melting the health bars of Shocky and Kryra. Nodal going forward. The bird comes through. Shutdown galore. Passive out for Kryra, and the Baron buff might not last long because Nigel's Last Tiles just punched back.
And just like that, a great play by Polestar gets completely denied by a great play by Tile. Finding Lunar, and once again, they are playing with the fact that they have the 10-inch Devour, but they are not respecting the value of some of these players. Oh, that's
look at that heal. That's a huge heal on the Mantra W. No Spirit Rush available. Is going to throw out another Q there. It finally comes up, and the charm does sink. Reppy goes dominating. Good pick off to get something back for Polestar.
That was so much healing, by the way, almost keeping Elias alive for as long as possible. But at the end, it doesn't really matter. They do get the kill, and they, at the very least, salvage something from the previous play. But like you mentioned before, Slayer, they lost out on a lot of the value from the Baron buff, so they probably can only push the issue until another tier 2, and maybe not even that.
They also open up the window for that 30-minute slow we were talking about earlier. Evan Light grabs that dragon. So it does feel like, despite the fact that Polestar, for a lot of this game, have been in the lead, there is a window towards the Drake pit for Nigel's Last Tiles. Thank you, though, PVS. Lunar at 120 stacks already. It's definitely scary if he positions correctly.
Exactly, it's scary if he doesn't die first in a fight, and that's been one of the main issues for Lunar so far, is that if he gets picked up, the Senna value is meaningless. But if Lunar is able to do the same thing that he did when he was escaping from the Udyr, then we see the Senna value in full action.
Is at approaching those 3-item power point. It is interesting to see, we talked about it. I noticed the Good Shot still has not opted for that Rage Blade. He goes for the Kraken Slayer third, so he does itemize a bit differently here, and as Cascos come through again, I'm waiting to see if crowd jumps. Okay, all right. Feels like every time I talk about somebody's build path, they get jumped on at this point, TDS.
Yeah, true. Maybe he feels like, oh, Reppy has to rush away. Luckily, with the change, he gets that up really quickly, so it doesn't really matter. And importantly for Reppy, he cannot die. He has 20 stacks of Magi's. He cannot afford to die at this point. Oh, Kryra.
Oh, Kryra doesn't have passive up. Good Shot likes his damage to the Kraken Slayer. Great Devour, though, comes out from Just, but that does mean that Lunar won't have it later. I think he's comfortable, though, two-manning with Shocky as they do get a tier 2 down.
Able to get a tier 2 in the same process. They probably will lose the mid lane tier 2 though, because of going for that top lane 1, and now that Kryra is also kind of low, they cannot afford to go for a similar play, although Aatrox is in a really good spot. He actually could have looked for maybe a play here. The issue is that Tile move around really well, and they don't allow for an opportunity for that to happen.
This is what I was talking about earlier, TDS, is at this point in the game, what really impresses me and a lot of the community about Nigel's Last Tiles is their ability to make the right decisions as a team in these later stages of the game. They move together well. They rarely get picked off. When it's integral, they don't. It's what's, in my mind, really keep them afloat in this game, despite how well of a start Polestar had.
Exactly. It's not typical that you see a team that may have had a bad start be really good at trying to maintain the order of the game in an effective manner, and that's something that Tile is doing in this game. They are waiting for the right opportunities. They are doing a really effective job at just not giving up as many opportunities for Pulsar as possible, and then they are taking advantage of their own opportunities. Like, once again, they don't just blindlessly or blindly, yeah, that is the word, blindly walk into the fire. They actually have a plan around it.
Well, they've got a literal Human Torch on their side too that help out.
True.
But you know, joke aside here, this is also the point of the game where Brand becomes a stupendously valuable champion in those team fights.
Yeah,
the sheer damage when he drops Pyroclasm, the combos, his passive down, it's really hard to deal with.
Those are three damage items that will be quite messy to try and deal with, so Brand can find a lot of value, but a lot of that is also tied with his ultimate. If he's able to get huge ultimate value, then we can see the Brand just completely popping up in a fight. But there's times where if he's picked off and he's not able to get his ultimate down, he's not going to find the same value that you typically get from the Brand.
What makes Brand such a big team fighter, like you're alluding to, is that Pyroclasm, you got to be able to drop it on multiple members or you really nerf the value of that ability. Well, TDS, as much fun as it is to watch them dance around, talk about these build paths, I think we're starting to get back towards action. If you folks aren't noticing, Baron is up in a matter of seconds. Potential Cloud Soul for Nigel's Last Tiles, nearly less than half a minute behind. And this is the real meat and potatoes of a League of Legends game.
It's deciding where you want to put your attention into. Is the Baron buff worthy enough? Is the Cloud Soul worthy enough? That's the point where you want to focus. And it looks like both teams are trying to flip-flop between what the most value will be at this point. I think Cloud Soul is not something that you worry about as much if you give it up. The only issue is that it does mean that Elder is going to come up, and that's an actual no.
I love that CC immune does run out, but I do like the aggression from Kryra, from Polestar right now, is they are aggressively pressing into these jungles to set up those vision lines, and you can see what it gets them, right? Nodal's low health bar, no vision means that Polestar can just slam this dragon. Kryra's so confident he'll even throw the early smite out. And that's a big dragon to take off the Rift.
They get it really easily. There's not much contest like you're mentioning, and now the Baron buff is the only one they are going to be looking for, and will they be able to stop it? Well, as long as they have control over the top side, it's going to be really difficult.
Reppy's been doing a really good job, knows how safe he is with everything available to him. Spirit Rush and Flash. Nodal, once more, getting hounded, does pop the Ghost. Evanline was close enough by.
Down there.
But yeah, that will just open up a potential Baron. We see the ping swinging through. Reppy still has the top side push, and they're going to jump right on it. Great call, TDS.
They immediately started, although they are running now, so they know this is happening. They are not taking it as fast, and this is something we alluded to before. They don't have the damage to take it down as quickly as possible, which gives an opportunity to Evanline to come here.
Yep, everyone's teleporting in. Reppy gonna get the first charm. Kryra's going for the backline. Does get some good stretching strikes, but nobody's following up the damage here. And the Pyroclasm doing a ton. Kryra's down. Shocky needs to find a window in. Goes for Evanline, who flashes away. Lunar's still free hitting, but so is Good Shot, who will find the kill onto Kryra. Both junglers down. Nodal running forward. Just too low. The gray health not doing enough. And Good Shot's health bar and damage should be enough. Gonna go for the Abyssal Dive to get away, but he will not get out. Nigel's last tiles, they're finding the fight after fight, TDS.
They are finding the fight, but Reppy does have teleport. They can come back into this play and try and contest it. Senna is way back, and Aatrox is also close by. I think they actually are way too late. This should be Baron buff.
Shocky does have one under backup now, but like you mentioned, the Scrying Orb shows it's way too low. Shocky's health bar the same. And Nigel's last tiles are going to get out without their jungler. With 4 on the purple banner. What is this game 1 turn into?
It's just such a weird sequence of events, and everyone just has way more value. Well, both sides do have a lot of value, but it feels like if they don't find the perfect pick on Polestar, everything just kind of becomes chaotic, and they are finding it in the perfect spot.
We get another chapter of the Good Shot Varus build, who has, you know, he does have a lot of attack speed, right? We know this is an on-hit Varus, but indexing a lot into what I'd call shred and survivability, right? He's got the Bloodthirster and the Kraken, so it does allow him to really pick whatever target he wants and burn them down, and that BT shield is gonna hopefully save him in a couple of these fights. And last fight showed that you leave him alone, TDS, oh boy.
It's going to be scary 100%, and now with the Baron buff, this just buys so much more time for the side of Tile. They can wait it out a bit longer if they really want to. They are going to collect the standing gold that was still left on the map in some of those turrets, and they can stop some of the potential pushing power on the side lane from the area and the Aatrox, because they have the Baron buff to back themselves up. They are going to try and answer the bot lane turret with the top lane one, which I think it's a smart play, maybe even more onto Reppy.
Reppy does have Spirit Rush up, which makes Ahri extra pesky. Backs are getting canceled. Reppy's will not go through. Kryra will get his off. Like you mentioned, Nigel's last tiles. At this point, they gotta be happy with trading these turrets, getting that standing gold in their pocket.
Yeah, we pretty much are reaching the point as well where gold becomes pretty meaningless, since everyone is getting their items in the same way. Like even Nautilus has 2 items already, so everyone is just so close in terms of the item mark that it doesn't really matter what amount of gold you're gaining over the opponent. As long as you're gaining gold, it's completely valuable for yourself.
Items coming through, nearly full builds for some of these members. I mean, most people sitting at 4 items, and really, yeah, just really illustrates what you're talking about. The gold lead is going to become pretty insignificant. Senna stacking will never be insignificant, as we see Lunar's nearly at 160, but how much will that matter with how these fights have been going for Nigel's last tiles these last 10 or so minutes?
Shoki, weirdly enough, finds the most important target, but he cannot follow up on it, and luckily, because there's no vision around it, they're going to steal the red buff as well in the process, and they are finding a lot of value thanks to this Baron buff, but actually losing to Reppy, the top lane turret. Reppy has been doing a really good job at just pressuring as much as possible the side.
We talked about Polestar do have a really good split and pick comp potential. Man, Reppy demands so much pressure. The Elias can't even try and save his own inhibitor. NACL's kind of stranded in limbo right now, not knowing where to go with most of their pressure.
Justifying the first big area, it feels like, because every time we pan towards the area, she's doing something really, really valuable. Also, love having
Oh, and that's certainly valuable. Get this kill into Elias. Big heal comes through the shield, but the damage is there for Reppy. He goes godlike. Yeah, and Ari might just go for it all. The teleports are coming across. Shockey's coming in. Do they cancel that TP? No. Nono will show up. But can Nono get rid of the wave in time? Fighting across the ridges. Everybody wants to get towards the Nigel NACL's base. Evanline will be able to get back. Shockey going all in. Evanline cannot die. Flashes away. Reppy autoing onto the Nexus. Down below half HP. But they save it. Lunar comes in next. Can he get the autos to win the game? One more will do it. He can't get it. Nigel's last tiles save the game. And Ace Polestar.
Lunar, why the hell are you autoing Evelyn? There's no reason, there's no issue. Why are you touching the brand? I know he's fire, but it doesn't really matter. And just like that, the game doesn't end, Slayer. It's going to be maybe Tile gaining an inhibitor, gaining the dragon. It's going to be Soul for the side of Tile, but what the hell happened there?
Oh my god. I thought we were about to have our moment of the GSL stage. I'm out of words, TDS, and I professionally yap for a career right now.
Yep.
Oh. Like you mentioned though, Cloud Soul will be picked up. Those death timers really starting to feel long, and Polestar are gotta be pretty happy that their base wasn't at all in tatters, or that might have just been game.
It really should have been game, but for Tile, luckily didn't happen. And now I feel like if Polestar loses, they have to bang their heads against the wall, because what the hell happened there? It's just like it's one attack away from gaining the win. But the good part for Polestar is that yes, they didn't close out the game there, and they did lose the soul, but now you're always a threat of winning the game for Polestar, because Reppy has teleport. There's super minions pushing, and you know for a fact that Elias cannot answer to the area. So you have to keep members close to the area, to wherever she goes, because she can finish the game with the Leech Bane.
100%. That item really coming through. The Sheen procs helping out a ton. And with Spirit Rush, I mean, if Reppy finds a window, he doesn't even need to teleport in. If he sneaks up towards the wall, he can just dash his way towards that Nexus. You can see, like you were talking about, TDS, how Nigel's styles have been affected by that. We'll call it a scare. At this point, they're just playing as close as they can to the chest with their base until at least that inhibitor on the top side comes back up.
And there's a reason why they're scared, and makes complete sense out of that. The Baron Bob spawning in 5 seconds now means that every time that the area is nowhere near close, you have to be ready to respond to it, and it means that there's a good chance that they can just go for the... Oh wait, Reppy.
As Spirit Rush available. A lot of lockdown. Good shot won't go for it. Baron is up, so Reppy can just play a stall game. Love Ego's really come in for this. Drops the depth charge, looking to chain some CC. Good shots coming down. Evanline's coming down as well, but keep in mind, as Reppy gets chased down, Polestar just going to take the Baron flash from Love Ego. They just really want Reppy. The Dreadfly will land. They will get the Ari, but at what cost?
You know, I don't even think this works. So it does buy them the time that Reppy's dead. It's 50 seconds without the Ari. They also blow the stack, so now it means that Ari has to sell the book. But the item difference is not going to be that difficult. Like, Reppy was sitting on 6 items so long ago, so the difference is not going to be that big. Baron Buff though now means that there's a chance that they can get the remaining inhibitors, and that just makes it even scarier to go against or to try and protect your own base.
You know, it's crazy, TDS, to think about it. We talking about how Elder, that could be a game-winning buff, right? It might not be a reality in this game. I'm starting to think that given the scenario, this game might end at Elder, to be honest.
It may, yep. It actually may go into Elder, and there's a lot of value for both of these teams, so we have to wait and see how it's going to go, but I just want to see if there's a big fight, because I don't think we have had many big fights this game so far. Like, there's been 2 maybe, where there's actually everyone involved.
Polestar really just stuck to the assignment of splitting up in this late game, because I think they realize that with the Karma shielding on point, with the brand damage going stupid alongside how good Shot has been on his build, that Polestar really can't 5v5.
Well, it's kind of impossible for them to a certain degree. So they can, but they have to be. Oh, Lunar needs to be careful here.
Lunar eats the full brand combo. The burn, that's enough. Elias finds the snipe. Is Kryra going to be a victim of this as well? It's another misstep by the Polestar bottom laner. We flash bot side though, where Shocky is getting a push in. Kryra's still on the Great Escape. We'll get another stun from Evanlai. I think Kryra's as good as dead. He can't heal through all of that damage. 2 big picks could mean the game for Nigel's last tiles.
Yeah, and once again, they are just reading the situation much better than Polestar, because they have the advantage in terms of where they can move around the map. They have the Baron buff. Repi respawn, so they can play this as smartly as possible, pushing the waves and trying to get the remaining inhibitors. But they decide to just play into the hands of Tile. They give up the opportunity, and just like that, they get collected in those 2 quick picks. And now it means that Elder is a reality for everyone. It means that Elder will probably spawn, and it's going to result in a fight for who gets Elder.
TDS, I don't understand. You know, you don't see a lot of the members of Nigel's Last Tiles on Vision, and you're clearing a bush that has a pink ward in it. So you don't know who's in that bush really the entire time you're autoing it. You just can't take these risks as Lunar, or it might cost Polestar the game. For now, it's going to at least cost them that mid inhibitor turret. Oh, but look at Repi. Repi's teleported back.
We talk about this.
Has to get through the inhibitor. Can Polestar cancel the backs? They are going for it. Only Evanlight starting to channel it. Teleport's coming across. Repi looking to be the hero. The Lich Bane doing so much. Nobody's able to get back, but Noodle. Repi is looking to win it all. XPK smiling somewhere across the continent because Repi just called game.
Oh. It took them so long. Repi, it was all on that one teleport, but Repi finds it, and they get the game victory on the back of. Honestly, if not for Kryra, my player of the game would. Actually, no, my player of the game is Repi. If they are in that spot, it's because Repi was doing everything possible on the side lane. Really huge area play, a bit of hiccups here and there with some things, but overall, he was the pressure point. If Repi's not there, this game looks really bleak for the side of Polestar.
Yeah, TDS, I don't think they win that game because we were talking about it. They likely would enforce into a 5v5 at Elder, which, you know, obviously a lot of setup can change it, but with the state of the game, you got to really... It wasn't looking great with a full item brand and Varus, right? They might not win that. Yep. They lose the fight, they lose the game, but... Yeah, how about Repi and Kryra? I'm not Repi and Polestar just like sticking to their guns. They didn't panic. They're not like, all right, now we got to fight. We can't mess around with this side lane crap anymore. They stuck to the plan the whole time. They bided their time. And it's hard with words to state how big of a game 1 win that is, purely not just for the game state that we were in, but where we're at right now in the GSL stage. Like we mentioned, this is for top 8 or you're out, TDS.
Yeah, securing the first game is crucial. So really good job there by Polestar, but also Slayer, this is the first game. So we don't know what else it's left in store for us.
Well, I know what's in store for us right now, TDS. I know I definitely need it. I'm sure you do as well, TDS. A bit of a heart rate calm down, as I like to call it. We're going to go into the break, and on the other side, we'll see exactly how Nigel's Last Tiles and Polestar want to pick up the scraps from that game number 1. Elimination on the line for Tile when we come back with that game 2 draft.
This city never sleeps, chemically brought down on its knees. With every breath that I breathe, clenched fists and gritting teeth. Tonight the energy flowing in me is waiting for release. Thunder beneath my feet, I sight you on my life. Until the dawn, the darkness falls, and I lose control.
feel it in my bones. A spark to lead us through the shadows. Can I fight the way before me? It's coursing through my soul. A road to guide us through the sorrow. Can I calm this storm inside me? I feel it in my bones. A spark to lead us through the shadows. Can I fight the way before me? It's coursing through my soul. A road to guide us through the sorrow.
All right, everyone. Hopefully we've alleviated some of the stress that was that game number 1, because like TDS said before we went to break, we have at least one more game in this series. So if not more.
Yep.
Polestar versus Nigel Last Styles, a shot at top 8 on the cards here. And we're going to jump right back into draft where TDS, Nigel's Last Styles, have elected to stay on red side.
They want to get the counter pick. Last time around, I don't think they make the most effective use out of the counter pick, but this time around, maybe they have a better plan. Like we know, though, this is fearless. So that means that previous game picks are not going to be here anymore. So no Cryosac, no Rapiari. Same bands probably, though. Maybe actually taking away some of the stronger ones if you feel like they are really scary, like the Barris and the Senna. But there's so many options that it doesn't really matter. So it does look like we're going to get repeat bans here.
Baby Dragon Smolder, once again, will be banned away. I am curious, like you were talking about, to see if Polestar will ban away Senna at the very least. We do know that, yeah, like you mentioned, Good Shots Varus is off the table as well. Kryra Zach, which was markedly a big part of the early game, will be not available, but I'm still banking on it. I'm willing to, if I could throw up some sort of prediction or bet points in this draft, I would bet that Kryra is going to land on one of his coveted carry champions this game.
Yeah, he still has quite a lot of options, so it's not like it's going to be impossible for it to find a good way. The area was something I was thinking about because it worked out so well for Repi last game that they probably want to take it away just in case they have something that they don't feel comfortable playing against. And it looks like it's going to be the Airy band with the Oriana band as well, and the Hui getting picked. Pretty sure it was banned in the previous game by the side of Polestar.
Yes, so that's their adaptation. Interesting to see that Polestar, I guess it's not for sure a mid lane pickup, but that's back-to-back blue sides where they are willing to B1 a mid lane pick. While, and for me, TDS, I'm curious how you feel about this. I feel like it could be a lot more dangerous B1ing Hui versus an Ahri. It was a lot more elusivity, but it doesn't look like the Hui will be too heavily counterpicked, as Asol is going to be the matched answer here for Elias.
And Asol, still a really strong champion. One of my favorite champions currently. I just love the way that the champion works. A lot of people disagree with me, but I honestly don't care about your opinion. So yeah, hope to see the Aurelion Soul excel as much as possible. And then the Senna we were talking about, taking 2 hyper-scaling champions on the side of tile. After the previous game, I feel like that is probably a good way for them to play, because the more scaling they have, the better the late game will more than likely look. On the other side though, like you were mentioning with the Hui, it does give you a lot of flexibility, and this could be a poke Barris with a poke Hui from a super safe distance, and this makes the bot lane dynamics so bothersome. Or this could be mid lane Hui with the Barris in the bot lane going with another support. And there's a ton of options. Renata is still available. You can go for the tanky options as well in the form of the Nautilus and the Leona as well if you really want to, and then the Renekton to close it out, which they could have gone for the Aatrox once again and then ban away the Renekton if you're scared about it, but this is a blind Renekton that they have to be really comfortable about.
Couldn't have gone for the Aatrox again, TDS, as I'm going to fearless draft check you, but well, you know, Renekton, I know last draft I said Shocky is an Aatrox special from him. This is the real Shocky champion that, like, I personally feel like I got to know Shocky as a top lane player was the Renekton. Obviously, like you mentioned, isn't in the highest tiered status as it was at the end of last season, right? It wasn't the like end all be all top lane bully that could do anything, but still a good pick in a lot of matchups. And it's interesting to see. This is why we love Fearless TDS. We have another Senna TK, but this time it's Nigel's Last Tiles who are looking to play it.
It's going to be on the other side. Like you were mentioned before, Slayer, I'm going to be checked on the Fearless draft a couple of times. I swear I'm going to forget about it sometimes, but yeah, the Renekton can be one of those champions that lasts for so long just because of how he tends to works, and probably works out really well for Polestar. As we see the remaining bans though, focus towards the top lane with the Ramble ban. I'm expecting maybe another ban here in the top lane, maybe something like the Xante. Gwen, I do think that it probably is not that great of a matchup against the Renekton, so that could be it. There's Gnar players here and there, so maybe the Gnar could be an option just in case you're scared about the range. And instead it's going to be the Zac. Kryra played really well, but it does give you a lot of flexibility where you want to send the Zac, be it top lane or jungle, and the champion overall just does so much for how your team wants to play.
Such a great disruptor, right? Yep. One of the best in the game. So I like that ban a lot. Nodal is kind of a top lane tank Chad player, so this Ornn is not a surprising lock-in from Nodal, but what I will say really quickly, TDS, before the answer comes out for Polestar, man, is Nigel's Last Tiles just indexing into, please let this game get to 30 minutes, because
Yeah.
they're the ultimate scaling comp right now. It's not even close.
This is a quintessential, we play for 30, and in 30 we can win. If not, that's fine with us, but that's our game plan, and I respect the idea. I think this can work, but they have to be really smart about how they play. Rel on the other side could have been a jungle pick, but with the Kindred hover, the Kryra special didn't get banned away. This is going to be a Kindred in the jungle, a Rel in the bot lane, and a Hui in the mid lane. And for the remaining champion, it's going to be the Volibear, so not going to be that affected by the Kindred early on, actually going to have a lot of power to start of the game in the first few levels, just because Kindred early on is not really going to put a lot of fight into you. That being said, she can try and kite you if you're not careful enough, so there's ways to try and play this matchup. But the Volibear going to be good at setting up ganks, trying to play off of your laners as much as possible if they have CC, and trying to set up the early game in an effective manner for Tile. Something pretty different to the previous game where you were playing the brand that takes his time to try and ramp up.
And both junglers trying to show their flexibility of champ pools here, so that would be very fun. But I'm curious to see if FNLi will go, because when you see Volibear in the jungle, I feel like you see a bit more of the like PTA, a little more like AD damage oriented, not as tanky. Still gets tanky, but not as tanky. It's like that top lane. I'm taking grasp. I'm drain tanking. But regardless which type of Volibear this is, man. If this game goes long enough, you're gonna have a full like tanky Volibear, a full tank Tom Kenjin Ornn with a Seta shooting from halfway across the screen, and Skies Descend with who even wants to know how many Stardust stacks this Nigel's Last Tiles of Brilliant Soul have. This 5-man comp of Tile, it will be. It should win a game if it gets to 35 minutes. I don't care how different the goal is.
Yeah, and the thing is, if the same thing happens in the previous from the previous game, where Polestar win the early game really handily, but they don't manage out the later stages of the game, then it's complete reality for Tile to try and play that out. It's not impossible, and they have the champions to pull it off, but it's going to be on how they execute on it. Because you may have the idea, but idea and execution are two different things sometimes, and you need to pull off both of them to find the value that you're looking for. I also want to make a quick point here, which surprised me just a tad bit, but it's more so in terms of what I like to see, not so much what it's the most effective sometimes. And it's more Lunar taking not the lethality route, but more the attack speed route, which doesn't mean that it's bad, but for this game, I was looking, maybe you wanted to go for something like that, especially when you have already an AD carry in the form of the Kindred as well.
Yep, certainly could help space out a bit more because, like you mentioned, this Varus and Hui, I don't think are ever going to get access to the Aurelion Sol and Senna in like a traditional 5v5. Because boy, do you have to worry about way too much frontline to burn through, excuse me, which does actually lend to the on hit Varus a bit more. But yeah, it is going to be a difficult game. Much. Yeah, way too much. I am also a bit worried about Just, who I feel like this Rel is just going to get hung out to dry like so much. I mean, Rel can be used to peel, but yeah, this Rel I feel like is going to go in and then realize, oh wait, I have a Varus and a Hui and a Kindred who will die if they try and jump through this front line. So we'll see if Polestar can execute in a more skirmishy comp. But like you mentioned, that's kind of what won them the early game last time round, and arguably with the split push once it came out, literally won them the game with Repi.
The problem is that the split push this time around is going to be much weaker. There's no comparison between Hui and Ari in terms of the split pushing power, so realistically that shouldn't be what they look for. And when it comes to team fights, like you're mentioning, probably later on we're going to see much more of the issue where they are not able to get closer to the backline compared to the previous game, and it's going to fall a lot onto Just, and I think it has to be Just pretty much kamikazing into the team fight and trying to open the space for Shoki. Like Shoki has to be the one that reaches Good Shot and Elias, and then Just dies, but it opens the space for the Renekton to be able to kill one of the two, and then the rest of the fight you're able to play for the longer fight. That is the main way that I see Polestar winning this in the later stages, because if it reaches that point, the team fighting power from Tile should be much better.
It is always important to mention, you highlighted the Kryra special, his Kindred and his Graves are two of his upper echelon champions, and while Kindred does like to scale up, right, going for those marks, there is a bit of snowball ability with a Kindred. If Cryo can get rolling, he might be able to just wreck this game. But it's time to see if he can do it. We're on to Summoner's Rift. Shopkeeper ready, making sure everybody gets a salute as they head out onto the Rift. Potentially the final game here for Nigel's last tiles in what has been a great run through the qualifiers. They've got to find a win. Hopefully, in their eyes, at 40 minutes with the comp they've drafted, if they want to stay alive with a chance at top 8.
Exactly. Maybe their last time here, but they have done an amazing job reaching this point, and hopefully we get to see more of them in the future if they get eliminated. But it's still a maybe, because they have a shot to try and pull this off to the third game. They have a composition that I think fits their idea of how they want to play the game, because their late game has been much better than their early game, and if they are able to pull it off, then maybe they put a bit of fear in the parts of Polestar as that is not a good early trading. Actually, yeah, it is much better.
We'll certainly take it on either way. I didn't see if Dodal got a grass proc through, but certainly will always help in that aspect. Not a lot of off-brand, I would say, rune choices here. It seems like everybody's kind of sticking to the flavor of the month here with a lot of these champions.
Yeah, not a lot of adaptations. I think it's fine. There's nothing that big that you should change. The only thing was that Lunar taking the attack speed version instead of going for the more lethality route, but it works out all the same, so it shouldn't be much of an issue. And both junglers starting topside, so we may see a bit of fighting down here early on.
Fights could be very intriguing, and so just went for a crash down there, but good shot. Sure, we'll be seeing a lot more of that as the game goes on, but at this stage, not too threatening.
And trading all around, just trying to find that early advantage as much as possible. I also want to check mid lane, because this was one of the places that in the previous game was so important for the side of Polestar with the advantage that Repi was able to get, and this time around it's going to be something pretty similar. The more opportunities that Repi has to control the mid lane and open up space for Kryra, the more you're going to be able to accomplish.
Dodal doing a good job trading back and forth though with Shocky, but that Renekton healing in the kit can always make those trades pretty pesky. But like you mentioned, both these junglers looking like they're going to full clear down. Certainly something Kryra will be happy about is Kindred certainly just wants to get as many camps Trump as possible and maybe try and fight over that first market, whichever scuttle it lands on.
Which probably would love to have it on the bottom one just because he's already there and the bot lane is pushing. Well, that's about what we probably are looking for, or what Kryra is looking for. The rest is up to... And I'm not sure, actually, I'm not sure, Slayer. Was it with you that we saw the Kindred that was looking for marks all game long and had like 2 or 3? Okay, so it was okay, fine. So you know what I'm talking about. That was an experience. yeah. So it
was so far behind in marks that the marks didn't move up towards like the epic monsters. It was still on the enemy jungles camps. Yeah, that was... I'm very confident that we will not have that situation with a jungler like Kryra.
Yeah, I agree. And so far, already having the control early on, he's probably going to get the first mark really easily. And then it should be really good for them to move around. They force Evanlai out of his jungle. Okay, that's unlucky for Kryra. He actually gets it on the other side of the map, but he should have control. Shoki is controlling the top side, and they also have the pushing power in the mid lane. So when Kryra gets it, they probably are able to run as fast as possible there.
You can see the danger pings. Kryra already knows that Evanlai is likely going to try and get over there. Kryra doesn't even care about being spotted mid. They're going to make sure to commit everyone here.
I love this so much.
Yeah, this is the play you do, not only just because it's Kryra, but for a Kindred in general.
Exactly. They know how important this is, and this all starts from the initial play, because they get control over the bot side jungle from Evanlai. They know that they are pushing the Volibear away, and they are already starting to affect or impact the matchup as much as possible. They may have rolled badly in terms of where the first Scuttlecraft goes, but they get the value still because they get both of them for the Kindred, which is so important. Oh, Lunar is alone.
Yeah, but Abyssal dive back. Too much damage on the Love Ego. He gets himself out. I like the adaptation there from Evanlai. He goes and steals. He has to know that to get both scuttles, Kryra didn't full clear, so he does steal away those raptors, but Kryra knew the whole time he had just roam up just to spot him, and that's, like we talked about, the high-level mind of Kryra in this jungle position.
Exactly, so important to keep tabs there, and Kryra is pushing Evanline as hard as they can, but they are making use of the control that they have in lane, something we were talking about before, and whoever gets this,
Evanline did get it, and Kryra is just as good as dead.
Yep.
The Breath of Light just too much to bear. Massive first blood going over to Elias of all people. Aurelion Sol accelerating the early game, a dream for the last Tiles mid laner.
Exactly, love the power that we get to see there by the Aurelion Sol, but the crucial part there is, Lovigo
eats the crash down. That arrow pierced right through all the health bar as Lunar will get one back here for Polestar. Two big scalers picking up early first bloodshed.
It's funny how both games we have a play happening topside that is good for one team and then immediately pan bot lane and then it goes all the other way. So everyone finding good value. But importantly, like you're mentioning, the fact that they are able to kill Kryra so early on, and it is a kill for the Aurelion Sol, can be a difference maker later on. I think importantly in that play that we saw from the Kindred, they lost out on the level 4 from the camp. It's Evanline that gets the early level 4, and that means that they have the advantage in damage and resistance. But it does force the flash out in that position. Nodal has no ulti here. This may be a dive.
Ultimate could be a dive. Kryra level 4, still gonna look for it. We have action on both sides of the rift. Shocky has the Dominus proc to just go in, take up the turret. This is clinical from the Polestar top side. Kryra grabs a big time kill and grabs that mark as well to boot.
100%, really well done there. They get the kill, they get the value, and even though it's not a mark for Kryra, it's still a kill for the Kindred, something to try and recover from what happened before.
Good response though from Evanline. Knows that topside is lost right now for him, so he'll index into that first dragon once more. And I do want to push everyone's attention to something. We do have Senna TK again, but it's worth mentioning this time. I'm curious what you think here, TDS. It's a farming Senna in the Senna TK lane.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. Not because it's necessarily bad. Like, I know that there's a lot of discourse about it. There's people that think it's the worst. There's people that think it works out. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's because I like the Senna with more atypical pairings. So I think it's more value for the champion in general. But this can work sometimes. Oh,
let's see if Evanline's gank can get some value. They get the slow on to Lunar. Evanline goes down to the bear crawl, gets the stun through, even though the flash comes across. Lunar gets chopped on. Good dodge with the Stormbreaker. He's still staying alive. The fleeting footwork will nearly get him out, but Evanline's lightning bolts make sure the gank is a success for Tile.
That was closer than they probably were expecting, but at the end they are able to get it. Lunar's Ghost was so close to coming off of cooldown that I'm pretty sure with Ghost and Flash, they survive. Doesn't work out in this play though. They are able to get Lunar in that spot, and really nice capitalization by Evanline to try and punish the bot lane that was so far up.
Some breathing room here for a good shot to farm back up like you mentioned. Boy Grubs are a perfect 9 for 9 so far for Kryra, by the way, after that top lane dive does pick up those first 3, and in Kryra fashion is continuously challenging for every mark possible in this game.
Yep. Trying to be as high up in those marks as possible. How many marks does Kryra have at this point?
I believe he's at 2, but we'll have to wait to check, as that's called the Forge got out once more. Nodal, he's Shocky very low, flashing forward for it, forces the Dominus out. Lovigo is here. Both junglers showing up. It's going to be man advantage over to Tile, but Shocky doesn't care. Flashing in, wants to try and kill Nodal first. Kryra has Lamb's Respite if they need it, and they might need to as the Volleybird jumps in, but with no damage left, Tile have to back off the 3v2, losing their top laner.
That was really well played there by Shoki. Waiting for the flash, actually pops the ultimate on time there to deny any sort of burst damage coming through extra there. And then the flash follow up when they have the stack W so that you can get the most of the value out of the stun. And like you were mentioning, Kryra still had Lamb's Respite, so they can time it so that they get the kill and immediately able to blow the Lamb's Respite to keep Shoki alive. Really well played there.
Talked about last game, how a lot of these top lane bruisers are indexing towards lethality, but it's for a good reason. Eclipse done for Shocky. Just such a massive power spike in the hands of this Renekton.
Exactly, going to be quite a lot of damage there. That does mean that later on, probably not going to be a difference maker in trying to deal with the Ornn, but at this point, it's going to be dealing quite a lot of damage. And it's also one of the main ways to kill the backline, like we were talking about before. Killing this Senna and this Aurelion Sol as quickly as possible.
You get some downtime as Shocky will continue pressing into the turret with the 2-level advantage. I am curious. Oh my god, he might just, man, with that Eclipse shield, he feels really confident trading even under turret. I do want to get a stack check. I actually am also curious where Kryra is at on those stacks. If our lovely producer PVS has an opportunity to pan over to Kryra. I think he's at 2, but I could certainly be wrong.
So they are getting one of the marks now appearing on the map going to be stolen from Kryra, so he's not going to get the opportunity to keep on stacking it, but I think it should be on 3 from the looks of where some of the stacks happen, because he may have died, but I think he got a lot of the body from the previous ones, and they may be setting up for another dive here.
He has the mark on Evan Lai, so it won't be off this one, but Nodal is really feeling the Ornn weak side tech. Lands respite here, even if the die gets a little wonky, but with the damage from Shocky, it looks even easier than last time. A 3rd kill in a row topside for Polestar.
Yeah, the really unlucky part there for Kryra is the fact that he doesn't have, oh, Reppy maybe dead.
Flash stun into the Stormbringer. What a combo from Evan Lai. Reppy will get the fear down, but it's Elias that flashes forward to secure it. And both solo lanes having a power spike for either team. It's Elias versus Shocky, it feels like, in the early game.
Yeah, at this point, it really is Elias against Shocky. And they get so much value here for the Aurelion Soul. 2 kills. I don't know how many stacks Aurelion Soul currently sitting at, but he's doing a really good job. And there may be a fight for the grubs. Both junglers stepping over on the side. Okay, Kryra gets 1.
Kryra gets 1.
He actually gets a 3.
Yeah, he's going to give over all 3 here with just roaming up. He wants to deny the stack count, which is kind of massive because Kryra is actually up to 3, so near that big range power spike.
Exactly, so he was closer to the mark, obviously not going to have it at this point, and that's also what I wanted to point out with the kills on the Ornn. Really unlucky that Kryra didn't change the mark's target from Evan Lai to the Ornn with the current dive setups that they have gotten, because it would have given already the 4 marks.
Could potentially been on cooldown, because I know you can't remark somebody that you just recently got a mark off of, but hey, still in a great spot, right? We talk about it a lot. Obviously, the marks are important on Kindred, but Kryra is doing well to affect the map here, and is itemizing. As long as he gets those items as well, going to be pretty impactful.
As long as you get to more than 1 item as a Kindred and more than 2 marks, you're probably going to be doing a really good job.
Evan Lai, though, does actually have a pretty substantial CS lead, and he's also, once again, tailoring towards these dragons. Actually is sitting on a 500 gold lead with as much kill participation as his lane opponent. But the gold lead being above 2,000 gold is all in the top side, baby, where it's nearly double in the hands of Shocky right now.
It's all on Shocky, and it's important to keep this in mind when looking at future teamfights. Oh, wait, Love Ego.
Oh, they're going for a pick out of this Tomcats. Does not have farm, which means he's a lot squishier. And he just popped in an instant. Big kill for Kryra and rest of Polestar as they look to push the issue.
Yeah, they may be looking for this dragon. Just didn't blow any flash, so he could actually have the flash setup as the rel onto any of the members that are remaining. Importantly, Aurelion Soul doesn't have flash, so he's actually a sitting duck, or there's a potential sitting duck for onto the Aurelion Soul if he's not careful enough. But dragon hasn't been started. They don't want to go for it.
They want to see if they can maybe pull somebody topside to help out Nodal, because Shocky's just hounding him. But Nigel's last tiles are just leaving him on that island, bringing the rest of the 4-man squad towards mid. They're looking for Just, where they do get a big slow. Just having to burn that flash. Chains of Corruption down, landing on once again Love Ego, who had just recently respawned, but a teleport from Shocky gets canceled on the flank. Nodal with a maybe fight-saving cancel.
Yeah, actually crucial. That was a perfect angle for the flank coming in for Shocky. He would have blown at the very least 2 flashes there, and it would have been the dragon setup they were all looking for. But now the team fight can be much better fought by the side of Tile, because it's how they like it. Front to back, they have Nodal here with the ultimate. They have the, oh wait,
oh, and there's the Skies Ascend. They get a great pick onto Reppy, and the fight breaks out in an instant just in the middle with Shocky there trying to look for the trade with the big dominance, but they can't get towards any of those back carries. Elias gliding past the entirety of Polestar will stay up and safe. And it's a big pick to find for Nigel's last tiles, who are licking their wounds as they get back.
They were looking to try and keep Repi alive with Kryra's ultimate there, but the Lamb's Respite coming in a bit too late in that play, and that's the power from the team fighting composition from the side of Tile. They find the quick burst onto Repi, and they don't allow the Way to do anything at all. Look at the difference, by the way, in the mid lane. Arenas already has an item and a half. Repi is about to complete his first item.
Big gap. We talked about it.
Yep.
The duality of these solo lanes. The junglers are going to be the focus now as Kryra, with that Kraken, with the lead he's got, he's up to that 4th mark, I believe. Just can solo down these Drakes. And will early on even out the soul count as we get an Infernal Soul in this game.
Oh,
Kryra, though, I mean, you got to be careful without Lamb's Respite walking up to Elias.
This Aurelion Soul is really, really scary at this point in the game, and you have to be extra careful about how you try and take any sort of fight against him, and it's going to be Infernal Soul. That means that there's going to be fighting for this dragon. Everyone wants him, everyone wants the extra damage, and everyone would love to get the extra damage.
A lot of bursts on either side. Certainly would love to sport the fiery buff. But it will be a decent ways away for both of these teams, because nobody was able to grab the first 2 Drakes to one side. I think Shocky, all he really cares about is these split pushes. Polestar is really starting to index into this spread the map identity.
Yeah, try and separate to try and get the control of the map. It's not a bad plan, but like we were mentioning before, it's probably not going to work the same way as it happened in the first game, because Wei and Ari work really differently in terms of how they want to accomplish the split pushing. And Ari will probably get more value than the Wei if she was to just completely go for the split push. But they get the Rift Herald, they probably can try and push towards the mid lane if they want to, or try and put more pressure onto Noda up there in the top lane.
That's 2 games in a row TDS where Kryra and company have gotten all 6 Void Grubs and every Rift Heralds. So top lane priority, at least in the neutrals here for Polestar, and it really helps just accentuate their leads for that exact reason. More standing gold knocked down early.
Exactly, going to work out really, really well there, and now it's to try and find as much value as possible. Shoki blowing up the ultimate. Scared about what they could have accomplished there. Aurelion Soul wasn't even close, but you never know. You have to be extra careful in some of these team fights, so preemptiveness probably going to pay off even more there.
40 souls there for good shot. Certainly a little bit behind, but he's on the farming Senna. I think that's 170 Stardust for Elias, so just trying to make sure those Skies Descend ultimates can really pack a punch as the game goes on. And I know you've mentioned it a ton, this A-Soul is scary, but Aurelion Soul has been game defining in so many of these GSL series, at least that I've gotten to watch.
Yep. And I love the Aurelions also. It works out perfectly for me to see how effective the champion is going to be and how much value are they going to find with it. Aurelion Soul, when he gets his stacks going, it's just a complete monster. I'm not sure how many stacks he currently has, but he should be above the... I think he should be above the 200 at this point.
I think he was 180-ish, if I last saw. 171.
171. So he's not doing that bad, but when he reaches the 200, that's a critical mass point, or that's a really, really strong point. And his wave clear, you can see it. It's just so difficult to try and deal with when he has it completely stacked. Oh.
Whoa.
Okay, I guess.
Looks like we got to a game pause, so I'm sure that we will have to... Yeah, we're gonna throw it up to Cams here, but I know with we'll see if we have to take a bit of a break to allow the delay to come back up as we I believe have caught somewhat up to live feed. We have some people disconnecting, but it does give us a chance to talk about the state of the game. And TDS, right off the bat, gotta be honest, it's giving me shades of game 1.
Yep, it really feels like that, with a potential advantage for Polestar that is not getting enough value just yet, and that's the issue here. The fact that Tile drafted for a later stage. They drafted to try and play off the game normally and then reaching 30 minutes and winning it out. Pulsar needs to try and pull this off earlier, and that's going to be the issue. They can try and pull it off earlier because they are not going to be able to fight against the eternal stacking power from Tile.
100% TDS, and while you know we are gonna have to wait a bit here to make sure we have our, I like to call it the integrity delay up here on our series, we do maybe give us some time to talk about some of the other matchups, because for one thing, I hope that everybody is at least has some of the other games pulled up, because it would be a big shout out to Rally Cry and Riot for allowing, you know, Aegis, Salt Mine, Salty Runback, Running the Rift, Mad Magical to show these games. I know that Salty Runback, Running the Rift are also both running games right now as well. So, and I know we got the latter end of that Team Fish Taco Illuminate GG game, TDS, if you guys missed it. A Vayne top split push ended the game. I mean, like, what's going on today? With our game and this one combined? Hello?
Yeah, that was something else. Honestly, it looks like everyone wants to have the exciting games today and try and find some really weird things happening.
Certainly do, and like we talked about, the stakes are pretty big here.
Yep.
I know not everybody's a fan of the points system when it comes to promotion tournament, but at least on our end, it's not really confusing if any of you guys were curious. I mean, obviously Nigel's Last Tiles being a team that I don't believe, maybe I can't remember if they were a roster in the OQ1. If they were, they didn't make it. Yeah, if they were, they didn't make it. I don't think they made GSL. They basically have to win like the entire tournament to make promotion, which would be just pandemonium. But it's also the reality for Polestar here. They are 6th in points, but they are 30 behind CCG for 5th, who are also already confirmed top 8. So if both of these teams, you know, I think more so for Polestar, making top 8 would be nice. But if they want to make the promotion tournament based off points, they've got to win this whole thing.
Exactly. They pretty much have to be up there, if not fighting for the #1 spot, which does make it a bit difficult for them, but it's not impossible. You have to look into it like that. Like you're mentioning, the point system does make it so that you need to have the most consistency in both OQs, but also to be the most consistently good. Like you actually have to be good and consistent to get the most value out of both OQs as much as possible. That's why I kind of would like to see a last chance qualifier. Like the first two to be like whoever wins it qualifies 100%. Then you have the third or the most points after the two winners qualify directly, and then the last one be a last chance qualifier. I would love to see that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, play-in styles are definitely the rave around esports, at least in the league right now. So like a best of 5 play-in for that last spot. Hey,
would be really
I'd be
fun.
A fan of it. Get some extra league down here. I can confirm, guys, that we are, at least the feed, they're off the pause, right? But we're gonna take just a quick short break here to get our integrity timer through. So don't panic if you see the intermission comes up. We will be back here in just a couple of minutes as play is resumed here. Game number 2, Nigel's Last Tiles, Polestar. Appreciate everybody's patience. We are back live with our integrity delay up there. Nobody from Ryan or Rally Cry. We're sticking to the rules here, but enough joking around here. We do have a flank teleport as Reppy has been routinely punished this game, and TDS, there is nothing he can do. He's just as good as dead. A fleeting fear maybe will delay it, but Elias is now 4-0 with 3 of his kills coming from Reppy's great screen.
Yeah, he could have also just tried and stack the tier up because there's no way he actually survives there. So you need to find any sort of stacking power in that play. Weirdly enough, they are still up 3k gold thanks to getting the turrets. But once again, against this composition, 3k gold is not enough. You have to get more gold in your pockets.
You certainly have the avenues too with the space they've been eluded. -1 right there for anybody in chat. Kryra did miss that cannon. I want that on record.
Imagine if the cannons gave stacks, but you have to last hit them.
I just know the meme in chat. Whenever anybody watches somebody miss a cannon in a pro game, everyone just spams -1.
Would be beautiful. Also, I want to quickly check because we haven't seen it. How many stacks does Goodshot has? Because he's playing the farming Senna, so it should be around 40. Yeah, 40.
Yeah, he's at 43. So it's a good mark to be at.
As farming, yeah.
Kryra, I'm curious. I think he's at 5. I know he got the first range upgrade. 4, okay.
So he's at the tip, at the edge of it with the 4 right now. Probably can get more as soon as we get into the objective securing and all that, but at this point, just about right.
200 met there for Elias. So with the Baron spawning and Infernal Drake, the first one, all coming on the Rift at the same time. Our first real big fight, a real big test for Nigel's Last Tiles. They're going to have that, I think, Rift breaking ultimate available.
The huge matter in the sky. I love that ultimate so much, by the way. The fact that they changed it to that. Once again, I know people hate the change of the sign from Aurelian Soul, but honestly, I couldn't care less about their opinions. I love the champion right now, and I'm so happy that they made those changes.
Oh, well, look at this call here. It was immediately spot out for Nigel's Last Tiles. With an Ace Soul, they feel like they can burn it down. They've got Shocky still pushing up on the bot side. Kryra is not coming over. He wants the Infernal Soul secured. And Nigel's Last Tiles are going to go for a fight. Huge Skies descend, and Lunar is immediately popped out in an instant. Reppy just does not have the damage to come through. He's going to fall unless the Lamb's Respite saves him. Everybody going into the Kindred ultimate. Shocky shows up. Can Shocky go huge here? Has the dominance going towards the backline. Elias has to flash away. Good shot, the next target, but Shocky just can't get close enough. Can't close any of these kills down. And now Tile have to run for the hills. Love Ego is going to die to, I can't even tell you what he just got popped by. Kryra gets the kill, and now they're going to surround their enemies. The Space Dragon, the 2 big carries for Tile, Good Shot and Elias don't really have a good way out. Is that going to have to be the runaway? How does Elias get out? Do they both not give a kill over? Good Shot gets the execute, and it's a disaster wrap for Polestar.
Well, it's not disaster if they get the Baron buff, because Baron does spawn. Evanlight has to come back. There is teleport for Noodle, but Elias has no teleport. So if they can rush this before the Ace Soul comes here, they can actually get the biggest value out of the play. Evanlight has no flash or ultimate. They actually can secure this. There's no way to stop this.
Yeah, that's a great point to make there. No Stormbringer, no flash for Evanlight. He can't get over the wall. Kryra makes me eat my words in an instant. The Baron picked up. Much more worth than trying to pick up that kill onto Elias.
They also get the Infernal Dragon. It must have happened while the Baron was started, so it just completely everything going in favor of the side of Polestar. Yes, they are going to lose this bot lane turret, but it's not going to matter that much. That bot lane turret was already going to die anyway. Huge value here for Polestar. Baron buff to try and push the issue a bit more, and if they can replicate what they did in the previous game, pushing onto the enemy nexus really early on, then that way they can try and put a damper onto the timer from Tile.
I'm very confused by this point why Elias does not have a bounty, by the way. It's not like he's down in CS either.
No, he should be farther. He should have a bounty 100%. Like, he has everything in his favor to be able to pull it off. I just don't know. Sometimes bounties are really weird because they say they work away, but they don't actually.
Well, I think Elias is certainly going to be happy about that, and we did see the team fight ability for Nigel's Last Tile. And the damage is still very dependent right now for Polestar on what feels like Kryra and Shocky. That will become a problem as this game goes on, because like we mentioned, even though it's not a farming TK, Ornn and Tahm Kench with enough armor items can really make this challenging for Polestar, because Reppy is pretty far behind on his items as the only AP threat.
He's going to take longer to stack up on his damage, and realistically he's not going to out damage the stacking from the Aurelion. So Shocky may be dead here.
They're going for Shocky. Elias gets really close and personal to Dominus pop Shocky, but with the Fallen Star gets the knockups he needs. That's a massive shutdown. Another great pick here for Tile.
And they used everything to kill Shoki, but they find it in the perfect place, and they find a crucial or a really good shutdown onto one of the strongest members. I think it went to the Bolivar, which is not the most ideal, but you still find the value there in the play. And now they will get the extra level up, or not the level up, the Ornn item onto the Aurelion. So that's going to be a lot of value.
Always fun to see the fun names on those items as well. Especially the newer items. I think Liamdre's now. I don't think Liamdre's has never changed. Yeah, it's Lament.
Yep.
It's a PVS special. I always know I'm working with PVS when he hovers over all the Ornn augmentations, because he's like me, he wants to learn the names. I will say though, the shutdown was great. The gold lead is still expanded, mainly because of how many of those standing turrets Polestar were able to knock down off their Baron.
Exactly, they still get quite a lot of gold, which is really good. Kryra didn't get stacks, I think, or marks coming in from the Baron push, which is kind of unlucky. He's currently at 6, I think, 1 for one of the kills, and then 1 for 1 extra camp that he was able to get, but not anymore, which is kind of unlucky, but at the very least he's stacking really well.
Elias approaching 300 on that Stardust, and we're gonna sound like a broken record, everybody, on the stream here, but it's important to mention that as much stall time as Tile can really buy, the game feels like it sways more in their favor.
Yeah. The longer it goes, the better it feels. 20 seconds for Dragon, and this is going to be soul point, so it's 100% a fighting opportunity for everyone.
Vision line really well set up. They've got a lot of death brushes set. Just and Shocky salivating at the idea of somebody walking towards this river. But if you're not just last Tiles, I don't think you necessarily have to fight over this dragon.
Yeah, they're giving it up. Feels like they are going to give it up. So the idea to respect it makes sense, especially because they don't have the way to walk into the river. Their team fight works much better when they can walk in as a unit and try and control the space. But if you walk in blindly, there's still a good opportunity for Shoki to find the backline, or for them to get into a perfect spot to try and kill Nodal. They have to be extra careful about how they try to approach this.
And we talked about in last game, what Tile have shown a really good ability to do is their patience in the late game stages around the team fights. They rarely do get picked off in bad scenarios, and it's what's gotten them wins over teams like ISU, who by the way finished top 8 in the last OQ, and has kept them competitive so far in this series against Polestar.
It's making it really difficult for them, and you have to give the credit to Tile in that sense, right? Like, it's not easy to salvage a bad early game if you're not careful enough. The Unspoken Parasite, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, that one is always so weird to me, but I'll give the credit to Riot. I have it enriched in my brain. That's the Ornn Augment upgrade, because it's such a weird name, so maybe that's why they did it.
I wish that, and this does not change anything of the game, but it does make it a little bit easier to know this. They could have made a tab specifically for Ornn items, or does it already exist? And I never checked it.
I don't know. That is a good question, but for the state of the game, getting those Ornn item augments does cut down some of the value of that gold lead, right? So in reality, it's not a 5k gold lead by this point, now that you have 3 champions with those augmentations.
It does cut it out by quite a bit, and also the stacking does matter in terms of how the difference in gold works, right? Because Senna with 67 souls, that is kind of close to equal to having components or items. Same for the Aurelion Soul with his 315 stacks. So everything does add up to how the value works in the game. It's not going to be the 5,000 gold lead exactly. It's going to be a bit lesser, because there's value in everything that the side of Tile has in their champions. And Lunar has to be careful here. Yeah,
man, you took a lot of damage. That is 3 item Senna by this point, so the stacks aren't big, but the damage is. Kryra looking to drop some of his damage like a hammer. Evanlai gets chunked below like 40% HP, and Baron is up with a ton of vision around it. Polestar have a big advantage here.
Yeah, they have a bit of vision, and they know that they can try and threat this if Evanlai has to go back. He actually went back, but they didn't start it, so now there's a better chance to try and contest this.
Started up now. There's a ward in the back of the pit that allows Tile to see the Baron in all of its glory. Some really good patience from Polestar. Just like last game, they're really willing to respect the 5v5 prowess of Tile's comp.
Now it's all the waiting game, how they are going to try and accomplish the Baron buff play, or they are going to just wait super long, because like you're mentioning, Tile respects the attempt. They know that they have to be careful about how they take it, even if their team fight has good potential. So they are trying to make it so that they don't take the biggest risks possible.
Next Infernal Drake is up in a minute 40. So feels like with Baron still on the cards, that's where everyone's going to really focus their attention. But this is what Polestar have kind of banked their identity on. Last game it was Reppy on this role. Now we've got Shocky. He's got the teleport available. He's just going to constantly weak side himself to try and add as much pressure, but hopefully break the back of Tile with this Baron on the other side.
Really have reached a lull state. Like, anything can break it up, but they're just waiting for the right opportunity, feels like, on both sides. And we also have to consider now 1 minute 40 Infernal Soul. That is also something that Tile has to keep in mind, because that Infernal Soul can be the difference maker in terms of trying to kill Good Shot or Elias.
Big reset here to get if you're Shocky. Get this one off. He grabs that 4th item. He gets the Spear Shojin down. So Shocky is at a world-breaking amount of damage, at least on this Renekton. And those shoved up waves are going to be, or what is really allowed for those resets to come across. Frozen Fist done, so nearly everybody has an Ornn augmentation. And the series might just get decided around this Baron pit, because everyone's got their items, their augments, and somebody's going to fight for it.
Yeah, it may just be one fight difference. And we talked about this point a lot, Slayer, and we finally reached it. The 30-minute mark.
Certainly got a favorite Tile in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, it feels like this could be the point for Tile to actually fight it. Dragon is here. They know that they have the potential to fight it. They are waiting for the Tam Kench, it feels like, and yeah, they are trying to find the perfect angle for it.
Lunar and Kryber, though, two marksmen can really shred this dragon. And yeah, Tile, they just can't get in. This thing's going to be as good as gone before they even step into the river. Infernal Soul picked up by Polestar. Love the no hesitancy. And they're going to look for a fight here. Like you mentioned, Lunar might be caught. Does pop the ghost. Has Chains of Corruption, but Evanlight flashes right onto him. Immediately, Lunar trying to run away. The Stormbringer comes through, and the skies descend. Gets the kills. Tile need the Polestar bottom lane down. They give up the soul, but they make sure it costs.
Yeah, they tried to run away, but they forgot about the most important member. The AD carry doesn't have a dash, only has a flash, but he has to use it in a place where they can follow up perfectly. And now they are trying to close down on the Renekton. They know that he is by himself on the side. They are trying to find Shocky. He may have flash, but it's scary for him.
A lot of ultimates were used to kill off Lunar, but yeah, Shocky is just getting his health bar erased by Elias's Breath of Light. Evanlight into the pounce stance, but it doesn't need a good shot. His damage is good enough. And Tile have a decision now, because they can go for the Baron, but Reppy, he's back to his split pushing ways.
He doesn't have a Lich Bane this time around, so he's going to take longer to actually take down some objectives, but he will get the mid lane inhibitor. At the very least, pushing power-wise, it's going to be much difficult for the side of Tile to try and stop the mid lane from, or the minions from coming through. But they get the Baron buff. They find the pick onto Lunar and onto Just, and they find so much value after that. And now with this Baron buff, they have to be able to break the base from the side of Polestar.
It's so intriguing to me how we're at such a similar point from game number one. It's once again, it feels like, can Polestar macro play the map correct enough to nullify the just fighting threat of Tile's comp? Or can Tile finally put together that game-winning fight? Because they've got the late game scalers to do it at this point.
Yeah. Oh, That is an aggressive jump by Kryra.
Maybe Kryra wants to fight. Yeah, does have to flash out. Good crash down. Just looking to be the sacrificial lamb. The falling star makes Lunar go real low. There's the lamb's rest, but they get through 11 line. And Shockey's going in for the back line. Does get brunted by Love Ego. You're letting good shot free hit onto the Renekton. The call of force shot knock. Will it be enough? Nodal flashing forward, but will find no one. And Polestar are able to lip out of a 5v5 fight. We thought they'd be as good as deaded.
Yeah, it's only a 1-0 in favor of Polestar, so finding the value, stopping the Baron buff, and now able to even protect the mid lane turret. Working out as intended, maybe there for the side of Polestar, but they still are in a really weird spot. Nodal is becoming tankier and tankier. Good Shot has way more damage than he had before, and also Elias just feels like such a big raid boss. Oh, Good Shot.
Oh, Good Shot. You gotta be careful. Going for that kill onto Reppy. Does have to flash. I think Nodal's gonna be the one to die in the end. Spiraling Despair gets it. Kryra goes unstoppable. I don't think you just go with the turret and back off there, but
yeah,
hostile.
And they had the turret already. There was no need to try and do anything weird there. But now, Good Shot with the flash down and Nodal dead. This means that there's a bit more space for the side of Polestar. Yes, it's going to be difficult to find what else to take because the only thing remaining is trying to open up the base. But getting more space to get vision and know where Tile is going to try and attack from can be a difference maker looking into the late game fights.
Her difference, I feel, is really starting to hurt Tile. You mentioned just how difficult it is to set up or go anywhere in this jungle because the vision lines, they can't get really aggressive ones. They've just now finally knocked down the mid tier 1. They have that, and besides bot tier 1, those are the only turrets they've gotten compared to Polestar, who have gotten so much more that allows for so much more vision for what could be another potential Elder to finish the game.
It really could be the Elder, but this time around we actually may see an Elder getting taken.
Yeah, we thought last time we were so silly. Amigo looking a little silly. Great cancel there from Justin. He's dead. Kryra finds another amazing pick that keeps Polestar in this one.
Yeah, they're finding picks in weird positions that really shouldn't happen. Like there's no reason to try and get vision at this point for Tile because objectives are down. They take one more minute before they actually take it, so there's no reason to try and contest anything. But now there's a chance to try and push into the base, try and open up some more space for the side of Polestar. It's going to be difficult because there's an Aurelion, so yeah, look at that. But there's reason to not go for it because there's no real risk for your team.
Guys descend up again for Elias, who still farming up that Stardust. These low states are a little bit less painful for us casters because of how many stacks we can check. I'm curious where Kryra's at as well. Yeah, 9. 9. So if he can get to 11, that will be pretty game breaking in my mind. 436 for Elias is also stupidly powerful.
And this is good for, and this is the good part for Senna because Senna when farming is actually in a really great spot for in terms of items, but the stacking as well is really good because already over the 100 ghost mark, that means that you can get a lot of body there. Oh, Elias.
Full build on Good Shot as well. They're looking for another pick here. Nodal's the target, very tanky. But Kryra here, it's like a truck with that Kraken Slayer. Nodal gonna have to take it back here. Elder's up at 30 seconds. I gotta think he's gotta take this reset now or he won't get it.
He has to back quickly because doesn't have teleport just yet. Will come up, I think, just barely on time for the dragon. So there's a chance that he waits for it and then TP's back just as dragon is spawning. And since it's, oh wait, Love Ego.
Oh, good flash, Shades of Corruption. But like you mentioned, these are flashes that really feel like they don't need to be burned on Tile's side if they position correctly.
Exactly, it's really not that necessary, and now they're taking the poke damage as Lunar started. Kryra is not there though.
Evan Live's running in, just has a massive flank. He's gonna crash down onto it. They have Elias pinned. Can they get the ace stolen? It could end the game. The Skies Ascent drops through, but they get onto Elias. Shocking gets the shutdown. Massive play there to maybe win this game. Reppy's untouched. Kryra gets the Lamb's respite, but a double over to Good Shot. He survives the front line. Reppy will trade everybody out. Lunar stays up. Kryra may fall, but this fight is far from over, and it's gotta be all on Good Shot's hand. Flat forward, crushing ball. Does not get Reppy. It's a trade, and Lunar's now the only one on the Elder. Love Ego and Lunar staring down each other on either sides of this dragon. What is going on? They're just dancing around like it's a waltz at an awkward middle school dance. Somebody take the Elder. Who's gonna get it? Love Ego going for it, but Lunar takes him down for the ace.
What the hell is all this dancing for? They get the Elder Dragon at the end, plus the ace. The massive. That was so big from Just getting the perfect flank into Elias. Yes, your Regal gets the damage, but you're able to blow up the big dragon in the mid lane, and then everything follows up through there. Good shot though, able to keep the dream alive, fighting so much in that previous play, keeping the team as long as possible alive, and then also credit to Evanlight and Noodle for making Crier's life so difficult in the fight for the dragon. But Lunar was left untouched. He was able to stack up all the damage, has the healing thanks to the Blade of the Ruin King, and able to at the end secure the Elder Dragon. Pretty sure he's the only one that has the buff.
Yes.
So it's not going to get the most value, but this does mean Baron buff.
Yeah, I mean, they can index Lunar's damage into what feels like a lot of whatever they want, but it just had to happen, TDS. We get an Elder that, one of the least useful Elders of a game at this point. It's not going to end the game, and I actually think we might stall out till the next one.
It's just such a weird situation. And the weirdest part is that this Baron buff doesn't mean that the game will end. This actually may go to a next Elder.
I think it will. I mean, we were wrong last time, but that was when there was an open Nexus, and Polestar have a lot more to keep themselves safe now.
Hey, that was kind of fun, and that means that it turret down because they were looking for Shoki.
Yeah, and Inhibitor, so 2 waves of supers. Those Void Mites making an appearance.
Oh.
Can't remember them. Kryra, I mean, he's got to be, the range he has is so powerful. They're going for Lavigo. There's the Elder to get the big drop, but Elias is going for the damage. Does get caught off into the side. They've got so many people jumping in the back line. Lunar and Kryra have to hide the Lamb's Respite. Lunar has to stay up. The Elder doing so much damage. Shocky going forward. They're going to call game here. It's all Lunar's giant Elder until Evanlight shuts it down. Good shot, stayed safe the whole time. Bided his time and maybe saved the game, the series, and the qualifiers for Nigel's last tiles, who ace right back.
The farming Senna is actually delivering their Slayer, keeping the dream alive. 4 tile, no inhibitor turret dies, no Nexus down just yet, or no Nexus turrets died, no Nexus dead just yet, only the Senna keeping the dream alive. That could have been the game ender there, but Evelyn actually finds the opportunity to come back and save the game, and now he will get some gold back for the team. The only thing is that we're 4 minutes in, so realistically this gold doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, all it is like extra push for the wave. That's about all they're really going to get out of it. And I'm with you, TDS. I mean, you heard my call. I thought that was game. Lunar was up. He had Elder still, like, execute. But I just keep forgetting about Good Shot, and credit to him, right? Because if we're not noticing him until it's too late, feels like Polestar are kind of in the same boat with these fights.
100%, and if they win this game, I have to say it's on the back of Good Shot. So far has been positioning perfectly, a lot of damage in the fights, 10, 2, and 6, doing a pretty good job as the Senna this game, and making the farming Senna actually have value.
Yeah, 128 stacks, which, like we mentioned, you know, if you're playing the fasting Senna, you're like, oh, at 41 minutes, that's not great, but this is a full 6-item Senna with no support items holding her back, so... Yeah. It's a massive spot to be in, and calling back to the draft, this is where Nigel's last tiles, maybe not their base is tattered, but champion-wise, they wanted Elias and Good Shot to be at this point.
This is probably how the designers of the game wanted Senna to be played. This is probably what they were expecting. Oh, Reppy?
Oh, they're going for Reppy. Does get knocked up. The way does do some damage, but he's gone. Elias gets the pick. Evanlight going forward. Just does a good job brunting, but they're going on to Lunar, who has no real peel left up. Has to flash back, still autoing his way through. Elias looking to get to that back line, but Justin Shockey doing such a good job taking it up that the GA will come through for Lunar, but he pops up to a breath of light. Disastrous death. Shockey still up, trying to get the heals. Massive Q2. He's still alive and kicking, and Kryra went off to the side to take an inhibitor. He's finally coming back to the fight. And can he find an angle on any of these low health bars? Lavigo and Elias have to run away, and it's another close fight.
They find Lunar, they find Reppy, and this was all a fight without Good Shot. Good Shot was just defending the base. It's a it's a pretty equal trade because at the end it's Kryra and Shucky alive for Elias, Goodshot, and Love Ego. So it does feel like it's close, but at this point in the game where everything can just completely go wrong if you make a mistake, the fact that Tile is finding so many good fights is so important for them. And they are keeping the game alive for another Elder. 50 seconds, Slayer. It's going to happen. It's going to be the game-defining Elder, maybe.
I'm curious if inhibitors, when they'll come up compared to this Elder, because I don't know if they'll even come back up. I don't know how close they are. I know everybody will be back on the Rift. I mean, I can't rate. These are like sundials. I'm going to assume that means they won't be back up by the time Elder comes around.
I'm pretty sure it shouldn't be the case, so it's going to be, it has to be the defining one, right? Like, it has to be the one that makes the difference here.
That was one auto onto the tank rail, by the way.
She does have a bit more magic resistance than armor, so that does matter, but at this point, Goodshot is a monster. And he has flash and heal, has everything up.
Kryra also, I mean, I gotta think he is at 11 stacks at this point. The range really crazy. The range on both sides, I mean.
Yeah, now is it.
So many people hit like a truck. And for once, I feel like this is the first time we've seen all game with the Senna.
Wait,
now less tiles have control of the river, but oh god, I know what you're talking about, TDS.
I swear, I'm just waiting to see if there's a dab, but now because Lunar came back, now this is the perfect opportunity for the Dragon.
Here comes Shocky, nobody sees him on the side. Kryra's gonna jump in. Can Shocky get to Elias? They're committing for him. A great Devour comes out from Evanlight. Good shot kills off Just. Shocky steals the Elder though. Can Kryra look for the turn with Polestar? Shocky might have just played hero. Gets the big execute. Good shot, the only one left up. Has to flash away, respecting the execute of Kryra. And what a hero play from Shocky. Who would have thought he gets the Elder and maybe the game?
How did he get Elder? I have absolutely no idea. And Baron Bob is up. If they want to, they can go for it. With Elder and Baron, they should be the winning game push. But they are not. They are wanting to end it. Reppy's teleporting in. Yeah, they want to try and force this. But Kryra is so low.
No help coming for the tile bottom lane. It's good shot and Love Ego for their tournament lives. Shocky has dominance up. It's a way too big mark to make it. Good shot's dead. A banger game one, followed up by a game two. We went 45 minutes, but Polestar are going to resoundingly make top 8 playoffs secured for NACL promotion.
What is up with both of these games tonight, Slayer? They wanted to sweat, and they went for it fully there. Both games going all the way, all they could. And at the end, it's Tile that loses out. It's Polestar that are able to win it. Honestly, fully deserved. I think they played really well, but Tile made everything, or tried to do everything in their power to keep this game alive.
Yeah, this is the definition of do not judge this series by the series score. This was this had been the most difficult 2-0 I've seen in a while.
100%. That was like, it shouldn't have been this way, but they played to what Tile wanted to do, and they gave them a lifeline for a lot of the game. And that's why props to Tile for making it work out like this. Like, they had really smart plays. I think Elias played a really smart Aurelion Soul moving around the map and keeping his lead as much as possible. And then Goodshot's positioning for, I would say, 99% of the game, except maybe the last play where he has no flash and he walks a bit too far forward. It's probably the only thing I can mention, but Goodshot played so well this game, and it still wasn't enough, sadly, for them.
And what about Shocky? I mean, we talked about the Renekton Shocky got that massive lead early, but, you know, the damage could fall off somewhat for Renekton. Everyone likes to talk about that. Maybe the damage wasn't there, but that flank that Shocky got, and just the ability to steal Elder away in all of that chaos, I mean, it could be season-defining for where it's gotten Polestar now.
You know, if Shocky doesn't get Elder and Tile gets it, it's game over. That's the game. The game is on. There's no chance for Polestar to win that game with Elder Dragon on Goodshot. So huge props to Shocky. He had the extra damage thanks to the Infernal Dragon as well. So some of these fights were won thanks to that extra damage. But overall, the game, full props to Shocky, makes use of his lead and does amazingly well.
I mean, there were just highlight reel moments and highlight reel moments of this one. I almost forgot about the first Elder, which was just, yeah. I mean, what do you even say about it?
The Lunar Elder, that was so funny to see.
Certainly about as hype as 2 games in a series can be, but We're going to wrap things up here, folks. That is unfortunately the end of our broadcast. Once again, two big shout outs I want to give. One, Nigel's Last Tiles. I know this isn't a fun way to go out 2-0, but going from the 23rd seed to challenging, and I mean challenging for top 8, super impressive. So I want to make sure the roses, the flowers are given to Nodal, Evan Lai, Elias, Good Shot, Love Ego, guys' coach. Shout out to Quest as well to get this far. I'm sure we won't see the last of these guys. So we got to make sure they sing their flowers some too, TDS.
Exactly. They deserve it. Yes, it's not the best way to go down, but it's competition. You either win it or sometimes you have the unlucky part of being on the other end. And I hope that they come back because they are a fun roster. They have great players, and I hope to see them more in the future.
It won't be too long until they can take another shot at it. It's going to be a couple months, but it's not like a whole new calendar year. Summer qualifiers are still a thing as always. And the other big shout out goes to Polestar, obviously. This is a roster that's been hyped up a ton for a lot of these big players. Shockey's been a lot of these spots before. Yeah, obviously, everyone likes to talk about Kryra as one of those up-and-coming best, really big junglers. Lunar and Just have been a bottom lane in the qualifiers for a while. They did a lot of good work on CCG. And how about Reppy's Game 1 performance that's hard to remember because of the Game number 2. So Polestar, they get to that top 8, and while they are completely out of the running for a promotion tournament from points, as long as they're alive to play for the win of the whole tourney, you got to give them somewhat of a shot.
100%. Like, everyone that is still alive has a shot to win it. How big the shot is depends on the team, but everyone still has a shot, and I want to see how they perform the next time we see them, because now the elimination matches are going to be done soon, and we will have our top 8 remaining.
And for everybody who's curious, folks, we are getting to the end of this entire OQ2. Tomorrow, the quarterfinals start. So Polestar are going to play tomorrow up against an opponent that already got through. We'll have that picture locked in. I'm sure there'll be a lot of tweets about it on social media. Stay locked for that. But for us here at Aegis, that's going to close out our broadcast today. TDS, it was obviously a joy to cast alongside you guys. You'll have Gordo and I assume TDS as well tomorrow for a quarterfinal game. I'll be over at the Salt Mine, which I'm allowed to plug because we are in a lot of ways technically sponsored together here, Salt Mine and Aegis. So make sure to check out quarterfinals there. But for now, we're going to wrap things up, and we're going to throw you guys, I'm pretty sure we're going to throw to, I haven't checked to be sure with PVS, but the only series that has gone to 3 games tonight. Taco, Team Fish Taco, who, are expected to be a big-time hitter in this qualifiers, are going the distance with Reluminate GG over on the Salty Run Back pod. So make sure to go show those guys some Aegis love and just some Tier 3 love in general. And we'll see you guys in some capacity, myself and TDS, tomorrow for the big-time quarterfinals. Until then, take care.